Justin Crawford's hands trembled as he reviewed the security footage for the 10th time, watching Dr. Maxwell's research team wheel another cart of blood-stained equipment from the Saurian exhibit at 3 a.m. The magnificent alien ambassador, once proud and vibrant with his iridescent blue-green plumage, now huddled in the corner of his enclosure, wings wrapped protectively around his body. This wasn't what the Cultural Exchange Treaty had promised when Earth welcomed the avian species from the Carina Nebula 3 years ago. The new Chicago Interspecies Zoo's pristine public face masked darker secrets. As Justin performed his routine health check on Wren, his veterinary training highlighted disturbing patterns. Fresh incision marks crisscrossed the saurian's flesh beneath his feathers, healing at an unnaturally accelerated rate, evidence of repeated tissue harvesting. The bird-like alien's normally bright eyes had dulled, his body mass drastically reduced despite official feeding logs showing normal intake. Justin's military combat medic experience told him these weren't accidents. Each mark, each scar, each sign of malnutrition painted a picture of systematic abuse. Dr. Victor Maxwell, the zoo's head researcher, had transformed what should have been a diplomatic partnership into a crude harvesting operation. The pharmaceutical companies funding the zoo's board of directors wanted the secrets of saurian healing abilities, and Maxwell was willing to torture their guests to get them. Pulling up his tablet, Justin reviewed his gathered evidence. 2 years of employment had given him intimate knowledge of the facility's security systems. He'd need it tonight. The stolen security badges felt heavy in his pocket as he memorized the guard rotation schedules one final time. In 6 hours, Maxwell's team would begin their largest procedure, yet one that internal documents suggested Wren might not survive. The stakes extended far beyond one alien's life. Justin had uncovered shipping manifests and research notes that made his blood run cold. If Maxwell's violations of the Cultural Exchange Treaty came to light, the diplomatic fallout would be catastrophic. Earth's recently gained membership in the Galactic Assembly hung by a thread. Hospitals across the planet now depended on Saurian medical technology that would vanish if the Saurian Confederation withdrew from the partnership. Through his office window, Justin watched Maxwell's team unloading equipment for the evening's procedure. Previous attempts to report the abuse through official channels had been met with threats and warnings. The board of directors had too much invested in Maxwell's research to allow a veterinary technician to interfere. Running his fingers over his military ID, a reminder of duties to protect the innocent, Justin finalized his rescue plan. Tonight, he would break into the research facility and free Wren, regardless of the consequences. The security system's quiet beeping counted down the hours until his night shift began. One way or another, the abuse would end tonight. Justin slipped his security badge through the reader at 11:45 p.m., entering the facility's west corridor with practiced casualness. The weight of his medkit pressed against his lower back, concealing tools that would prove essential for Wren's extraction. Crawford. The voice behind him froze his steps. Marcus Lewis, the night shift supervisor, emerged from the security office. Justin's hand instinctively moved toward the taser hidden beneath his jacket. At ease, Marcus raised his palms. "I've watched the same security feeds you have. We need to talk." Inside the security office, Marcus pulled up a holographic display of the facility's layout. These red marks indicate sensors not listed in standard protocols. Motion detection in the vents, pressure plates under the lab tiles. The older man's weathered face tightened. 20 years as a detective taught me to spot patterns. Maxwell's operation goes deeper than you know. Justin studied the marked points, mentally revising his route. Why help me? Because I've documented everything. Marcus retrieved a data cube from his desk. But Maxwell's private security makes moving against him complicated. An alert flashed on Marcus's screen movement in the research wing. Justin leaned forward, stomach clenching, as he watched Maxwell's team wheel Ren into the procedure room ahead of schedule. They're starting early. Justin activated his tablet, linking to Marcus's security feed. The observation window revealed four figures in biohazard suits positioning surgical equipment around the weakened Saurian. Dr. Sarah Henderson stood rigid beside the operating table, her movements mechanical, as she prepared instruments under the watchful gaze of Kyle Roberts. The security contractor's hand never strayed far from his holstered weapon. "I served with Roberts." Justin's voice hardened. He was discharged after breaking a civilian's jaw during a routine checkpoint inspection. The monitoring equipment beeped steadily as the team began their procedure without anesthesia. Ren's wings strained against the restraints, his once-brilliant plumage now dull and matted with blood. Justin accessed the nearest computer terminal, fingers flying across the interface. Files populated the screen: correspondence between Maxwell and Biosynth Corporation, requisition orders for specialized containment units, transfer authorizations for biological samples to facilities across the globe. "They're doing this everywhere," Justin muttered. "Other zoos, other saurians." A warning light pulsed on Marcus's console. Security camera feeds showed figures in tactical gear moving through the facility's outer ring with military precision. "Unknown players," Marcus reported, switching between camera views. "No identifying markers. They're running a standard sweep and clear pattern." Justin watched Ren's vital signs fluctuate dangerously on the monitors. The Saurian's respiratory rate climbed while his blood pressure dropped. Through the observation window, Dr. Henderson's hands trembled as she participated in the grotesque harvest. "I can shut down power to specific systems." Marcus pulled up the facility's electrical grid. "Create enough chaos for an extraction, but maintain critical life support." Justin checked his tablet's countdown. 15 minutes until the unknown team reached the research wing. Through the window, Maxwell's team continued their methodical work, oblivious to the approaching threat. A particularly aggressive tissue extraction caused Ren's vitals to spike dangerously. "We're out of time." Justin pulled up the building schematics, plotting the fastest route through the maintenance tunnel. "Can you isolate the lab's security systems from the main grid?" Marcus nodded, hands moving across his console. "Ready on your mark." Justin removed his medical kit, checking its contents one final time. The rescue plan had evolved far beyond his original scope, but the immediate priority remained unchanged. Behind him, security feeds tracked the tactical team's steady advance through the facility. Above, Ren's life signs continued their erratic dance across the monitoring equipment's display. Justin's fingers flew across his tablet, initiating the emergency protocols Marcus had prepared. Throughout the facility, lights flickered and died in careful sequence. The procedure room's main power cut out with a low hum, leaving only the battery-powered surgical equipment running. "What's happening?" Dr. Maxwell's voice carried through the observation window. "Roberts, check the breakers." As Kyle Roberts moved toward the door, Justin accessed the decontamination chamber, his stolen keycard sliding smoothly through the reader. The airlock cycled with a soft hiss. Through his tablet's feed, he watched the tactical team progressing through the facility, their movements precise, disciplined. The distinctive ridge patterns on their helmets marked them as Saurian Special Operations. Marcus's voice crackled through Justin's earpiece. "Commander Krelth's team, they've disabled our external communications." Justin stepped into the procedure room. Robert spun toward him, reaching for his weapon. Justin struck a precise blow to the junction between neck and shoulder. Roberts crumpled, his pistol clattering across the floor unfired. "Stop!" Dr. Maxwell lunged for his tablet. "The procedure is at a critical stage." Dr. Henderson grabbed Maxwell's device, her hands steady despite her pallid face. "Enough." She clutched the tablet to her chest, backing away from her superior. "I've watched this for too long." Justin moved to Wren's side, scanning the array of equipment. Tubes and sensors covered the Saurian's body, extracting tissue samples and monitoring vital signs. He traced each connection, identifying critical life support systems among the experimental apparatus. "Don't touch those lines." Maxwell stepped forward. "The shock could kill him. I know exactly what I'm doing." Justin's fingers moved with practiced efficiency, disconnecting harvesting equipment while maintaining essential support. Wren's vitals stabilized, his breathing evening out as the invasive procedures ceased. The maintenance door slid open. Marcus wheeled in a massive medical transport pod, its environmental controls already humming. Biosynth response team just breached the perimeter, Morrison's leading them. Justin and Dr. Henderson carefully transferred Wren into the pod. The Saurian's feathers rustled weakly against the padding as automated medical systems engaged, delivering stabilizing compounds. Through the pod's transparent cover, Wren's eyes opened slightly, focusing on Justin with unexpected clarity. A burst of gunfire echoed from the lower levels. Marcus checked his security feed. Morrison's team is setting up a perimeter. They're blocking access to all major exits. Maxwell's gone. Dr. Henderson pointed to the rear door, left ajar during the chaos. The researcher had vanished, along with several sample containers. Justin guided the medical pod toward the maintenance corridor, its repulsor field humming softly. More gunfire erupted, closer now. Through the facility's cameras, he watched biosynth operatives establishing firing positions while Saurian forces advanced through the maintenance tunnels, their weapons charged with lethal energy signatures. This way. Marcus led them through a service passage, the pod barely fitting through the narrow space. They emerged in a reinforced maintenance hub, surrounded by backup generators and climate control systems. Marcus sealed the heavy doors behind them. Dr. Henderson connected Maxwell's tablet to a portable terminal. "Everything's here: research notes, shipping manifests, communication logs, the whole operation." Justin monitored Wren's vital signs while studying the security feeds. Morrison's team had established a defensive perimeter around the upper levels. Commander Krelth's forces moved with deadly purpose through the lower tunnels, closing distance. If the two forces met, the resulting firefight would shatter Earth's diplomatic relations with the Saurian Confederation. The medical pod systems beeped urgently. Wren needed comprehensive care, soon care only available at a Saurian medical facility. They had to find a way through the closing net of armed forces, and time was running out. Marcus pulled up the facility's maintenance schematics. There might be a way to reach the Saurian team without crossing Morrison's position, but we'll need a distraction. Behind them, the reinforced door creaked as something heavy pressed against it. The security feed showed biosynth operatives setting charges on the other side. Justin reached for his tablet, fingers flying across the interface. "Marcus, patch me into the facility's communication grid. I need to reach the Saurian team before this escalates." Marcus's hands moved across his console, bypassing security protocols. Channel open, broadcasting on their tactical frequency. Justin transmitted the security footage of Maxwell's procedures, along with Wren's current biometric data. "Commander Krelth, this is Justin Crawford. We have your citizen and evidence of illegal experimentation, requesting coordination for medical evacuation." The response came in clear, measured tones. "Confirmed, Crawford. Your intervention is noted. Hold position." Dr. Henderson accessed a separate terminal. "I can trigger containment protocols, segment the facility. It'll trap Morrison's teams in isolated zones." "Do it," Justin ordered, watching her fingers dance across the keypad. Warning lights flashed as hermetic barriers descended throughout the complex. Through the security feeds, biosynth operatives scattered, their formations disrupted by the facility's automated lockdown. A proximity alert flashed on Marcus's screen. "Maxwell's in the storage level. He's accessing the biological vault. Justin pulled up the vault manifest. His breath caught as he read the containment specifications. He's going after the engineered pathogen. It targets saurian tissue specifically. The transport pod's shielding won't protect Ren if that gets released, Dr. Henderson said, checking the medical readouts. His immune system's already compromised. Marcus, get them to the saurian team. Take the east maintenance shaft. Morrison's people are pulling back from the containment alert. Justin checked his medkit. I'm heading to the vault. He sprinted through sterile corridors, emergency lights casting red shadows across the walls. A figure stepped from a side passage. Dr. Thomas Wright, his containment officer's badge gleaming. Crawford, stop. Wright raised his hands. Maxwell's been working on this for months. I've documented everything. Justin's hand moved toward his taser. Prove it. Wright pulled out a data cube. Full access to the environmental systems, vault codes, containment protocols. I was building a case, but he moved too fast. He pressed the cube into Justin's palm. The pathogen's decay rate accelerates at specific pressure levels. That's your advantage. Security feeds showed Morrison advancing through parallel corridors. Justin activated his comm. Morrison, Maxwell's about to turn this into an international incident. Your choice: help me stop him, or explain to your superiors why Biosynth engineered a bioweapon against a galactic assembly member. Morrison's voice crackled through the speaker. East Junction. 1 minute. They converged on the vault's entrance. Morrison's tactical gear contrasted with Justin's medical uniform as they flanked the doorway. Inside, Maxwell stood before a containment unit, holding a cylindrical canister. Stop! Maxwell's fingers tightened around the release valve. One twist and this whole facility becomes a quarantine zone. Justin accessed the environmental controls through Wright's codes. The saurians are clear. Release it and you'll only prove what we've already documented. You don't understand. Maxwell's eyes darted between them. The research, the potential applications are over, Morrison interrupted, weapon trained on Maxwell's chest. Biosynth is cutting losses. Stand down. Justin's tablet displayed Ren's stabilizing vital signs as Commander Krelth's medical team worked. The saurians' chances improved with each passing second, but they needed to evacuate soon. He watched Maxwell's grip on the canister, calculating pressure points and nerve clusters. Morrison shifted his stance. Sir, the board's already been notified. Containment teams are inbound. Then there's nothing left. Maxwell's fingers moved toward the release mechanism. Justin struck, driving precise pressure points in Maxwell's forearm. The canister dropped. Morrison lunged forward, securing it before impact. Justin followed through, pinning Maxwell's arms as the researcher thrashed against his hold. Containment teams move in, Morrison ordered through his comm. Package secured. Through the facility's cameras, Justin watched Ren's pod being loaded into a saurian medical transport. Commander Krelth stood with Marcus and Dr. Henderson, their postures reflecting the delicate diplomatic balance achieved. Wright's voice came through the comm, initiating decontamination protocols. All personnel clear the lower levels. Justin maintained his grip on Maxwell as Morrison secured the pathogen canister. Through his earpiece, Dr. Wright's voice came in clear, initiating vault sterilization protocols. The UV radiation sequence requires 3 minutes for full effectiveness. Maxwell's muscles tensed beneath Justin's hold, his fingers twitching with hardly restrained agitation. Justin recognized the pattern. He'd seen similar responses in combat trauma cases. The researcher was approaching a psychological break. The containment field's power supply is dropping, Morrison noted, checking the canister's display. Backup battery at 60%. A new voice cut through their comms. This is Security Chief Evans. Morrison, you are authorized to take whatever measures necessary to contain the pathogen. Corporate interests are secondary. Maxwell's head snapped up. Evans, when did the board? They've known for weeks, Morrison interrupted, his weapon remaining steady. Internal review flagged your department's irregularities. Justin felt Maxwell's pulse spike through his restraining hold. The researcher's eyes fixed on the canister's power readout as it continued to drop. Sweat beaded on Maxwell's forehead as the backup battery indicator hit 40%. The containment field. Maxwell lunged forward, straining against Justin's grip. "I can bypass the safety interlocks." Justin struck precisely at the junction of Maxwell's shoulder and neck, targeting the brachial plexus. The researcher's arm went limp, and the override sequence remained incomplete on the canister's control panel. Heavy footsteps approached from the corridor. A biosynth tactical team entered in full containment gear, led by a sharp-featured woman Justin recognized from corporate broadcasts security chief Diana Evans. "Dr. Maxwell." Evans surveyed the scene. "The board is particularly interested in your unauthorized experiments on Citizen Wren, along with similar projects at other facilities we're currently investigating." Through the facility's cameras, Justin watched Commander Krelth's medical team preparing Wren for transport. The Saurian's vital signs had stabilized, but he needed specialized care. Dr. Henderson worked alongside the alien medics, transferring her treatment records to their systems. "Justin," Dr. Wright's voice came through his earpiece. "I'm receiving data from the Saurian medical team about their biological vulnerabilities, the dispersal models for Maxwell's pathogen." He paused. If he'd released it, the casualty radius would have extended well beyond the facility. The canister's power level dropped to 20%. Maxwell watched the display, his face contorting. "You don't understand. The applications are no longer your concern." Evans cut him off. She gestured to her team. "Secure him and all research materials for transport to corporate headquarters." As biosynth operators took custody of Maxwell, Marcus's voice came through Justin's comm. "You need to see this. I've decoded some of Maxwell's communications. He's part of a network, multiple facilities, all conducting similar experiments." Dr. Henderson joined the channel. "I've been in contact with other xenobiologists. They've noticed patterns, missing specimens, altered records. We're not the first to notice something wrong." The vault's UV sterilization sequence completed with a soft chime. Morrison carefully placed the no-inert canister into a specialized containment unit as Evans' team documented the scene. "Crawford." Evans approached Justin. "Your background in combat medicine, combined with your handling of this situation." She paused. "We could use your expertise identifying other potential victims. There may be more imprisoned Saurians who need extraction." Through the facility's cameras, Justin watched Wren's medical pod being loaded into a Saurian transport. Commander Krelth stood at attention, his scaled features unreadable as he supervised the transfer. The medical readouts showed Wren's condition continuing to improve under proper care. Marcus transmitted a decoded file to Justin's tablet. Encrypted communications scrolled across the screen, revealing a web of contacts and facilities stretching across multiple continents. Each message hinted at more unauthorized experiments, more victims waiting to be found. "I have access to a network of veterinary professionals," Dr. Henderson added. "They've been documenting suspicious cases for months. With proper coordination," a priority alert flashed on Justin's tablet. Another facility had just initiated emergency containment protocols. The attached medical data showed biological signatures matching Wren's initial readings. Justin's tablet screen flickered as another alert demanded his attention. The biological signatures matched previous scans, Saurian life signs under severe distress. He turned to Security Chief Evans, who studied the encrypted facility data over his shoulder. "3 more ambassadors," Evans said, her sharp features tightening, "and one scheduled for intensive procedures within 48 hours. Commander Krelth's scaled hands clenched at his sides as he processed the information. The temporary operations center, hastily established in the zoo's veterinary wing, hummed with activity as analysts sifted through Maxwell's decoded files. Ambassador Vexka, Krelth said, touching a clawed finger to the facility designation. Her regenerative capabilities exceed our species' norms. Now we know why she vanished during her diplomatic tour. Dr. Henderson pulled up environmental data from the Rocky Mountain Research Complex. They're using the altitude as cover. Look at these oxygen levels, they're keeping her deliberately weakened. Marcus Lewis, his eyes fixed on surveillance footage, straightened suddenly. Chief Evans, you need to see this. He highlighted a security feed showing a familiar face. That's Robert Morrison, James Morrison's brother. He's running security at the Rocky Mountain facility. James Morrison stepped forward, his tactical gear still dusty from the vault confrontation. My brother won't negotiate. He believes in biosynth methods. Evans activated a secure channel on her comm unit. Gregory Walsh, this is Evans. Mobilize your investigation team. We have multiple facilities to secure. She paused, listening. The Rocky Mountain Complex is priority. Their private security force will resist standard law enforcement. Dr. Wright's analysis flashed urgent warnings across the main display. The research data shows advanced trials. They've already synthesized compounds from saurian tissue samples. He shared his screen with Dr. Henderson. These molecular structures, they're replicating regenerative proteins, Henderson finished, her voice tight. Multiple pharmaceutical companies involved, maybe government contracts. A new figure entered the operations center, a saurian in sleek combat gear. Commander Krelth acknowledged him with a slight bow. Tactical Specialist Miker, the High Command sent our best. Miker activated a holographic display, showing advanced infiltration tech that seemed to bend light itself. We must extract Ambassador Vexka without triggering an interspecies incident. Justin studied the Rocky Mountain facility's schematics, marking entry points and security positions. The complex's elevation provided natural isolation, with steep cliffs on 3 sides and a single access road heavily monitored by Robert Morrison's security teams. The environmental controls are our way in, Justin said, highlighting maintenance tunnels. They need extensive ventilation systems at that altitude. Dr. Henderson, can you prepare protocols for treating high-altitude complications in saurian physiology? Henderson nodded, already documenting treatment sequences. I'll coordinate with the medical transport Evans arranged. James Morrison stepped closer to the facility diagram. Roberts trained his teams in mountain warfare. They'll have the high ground covered. He indicated defensive positions, but he always favors the same patrol patterns. We can use that. Miker's scaled fingers danced across his tactical display, plotting insertion vectors. My infiltration tech can mask a small team's thermal signatures. The facility's sensors won't detect our approach. Time is critical, Evans said, checking the mission clock. Once we move on the Rocky Mountain Complex, the other facilities will go into lockdown. Walsh's team needs to hit them simultaneously. Justin assembled his medical kit with practiced efficiency, adding specialized equipment for saurian trauma care. Through the operations center's windows, he watched Commander Krelth's forces establishing a concealed position in the mountain range near their target. Dr. Wright appeared at his side, holding a crystal. I've compiled everything we know about their research, the pharmaceutical applications they're pursuing. He shook his head. This goes beyond biosynth. Multiple corporations, research divisions. One rescue at a time, Justin said, securing the crystal in his tactical vest. He turned to the assembled team, human and saurian alike. The facility's evening shift change gives us our window. Miker's tech will get us inside, but we'll need precise timing to reach Ambassador Vexka before the procedures begin. Evans's comm unit chimed with an encrypted transmission from Walsh's team. The investigation unit had positioned assets near each target facility, waiting for the signal to move. Above them, A Saurian medical transport maintained high orbit, ready to receive their injured ambassador. Justin checked his tablet one final time, confirming the facility's security rotations. Robert Morrison's influence was evident in the patrol schedules, rigid, professional, and thoroughly militarized, but like his brother said, predictable to those who knew his methods. Micah activated his infiltration tech, the air around him shimmering like heat waves. The approach route is mapped. We move in 30 minutes. Through the operations center's monitors, Justin watched Walsh's teams taking final positions across the continent. The mission clock ticked steadily toward their insertion time as Commander Krelth's forces reported optimal weather conditions in the mountains. Every piece was in place, now they just had to execute. The first rays of dawn painted the Rocky Mountains in shades of amber as Justin's team approached their insertion point. Micah's infiltration tech cast prismatic distortions across their silhouettes while they navigated the service tunnel, their footsteps echoing softly against concrete walls. "Security sweep in progress," Dr. Wright's voice crackled through their comms. "Robert Morrison's team is moving through Sector 4. Justin checked his medical kit one final time. The specialized Saurian treatment supplies Dr. Henderson had prepared were secured alongside standard trauma gear. Through his tactical display, he monitored the gradual normalization of the facility's oxygen levels. "Biometric barrier ahead," one of Evan's security officers whispered, indicating a newly installed scanner. The sleek device pulsed with active sensors hardware that wasn't on any of their facility schematics. Dr. Wright's fingers flew across his console in the mobile command center. "System update cycle initiating. You'll have 3 minutes when I disable the verification protocols." The team held position as precious seconds ticked by. Justin watched Morrison's security team through the facility's camera feeds, their practiced movements revealing their leader's military background. "Now," Wright transmitted. The biometric scanner's display flickered, and Micah immediately moved forward, interfacing his infiltration tech with the system. The barrier deactivated with a soft click. They accessed the environmental control center through a maintenance shaft, encountering the stark evidence of Ambassador Vexka's captivity. Monitoring displays showed the artificially suppressed oxygen levels in her containment area. "Beginning atmospheric adjustment," Justin reported, carefully manipulating the environmental controls. "Gradual 10% increase over the next 15 minutes to avoid shock." The facility's cameras revealed Robert Morrison directing his security team as they assembled medical transport equipment. Clinical efficiency masked the brutality of their intended purpose, the harvesting of saurian regenerative tissue. "New arrival at the main entrance," Evans transmitted. "Dr. Elena Torres, Level 1 clearance. Background shows extensive work in xenobiological tissue adaptation. She collaborated with Maxwell on previous projects." Through the security feeds, they watched Torres stride through the facility's corridors, her lab coat pristine, her movements purposeful. She carried a specialized sample case that made Justin's expression resolute. "Multiple aircraft approaching," Commander Krelth's voice cut through the comm channel. "Corporate signatures. Walsh confirms biosynth board members aboard." Micah's scaled features shifted in the dim light. "We must split our forces. The data centers cannot be allowed to purge their records." Justin nodded, checking the facility schematic one final time. "Take Nielsen and secure the servers. Martinez, you're with me. We'll proceed to Ambassador Vexka's containment area through the maintenance level." The teams separated at a junction, Micah's infiltration field shimming as his group disappeared down a parallel corridor. Justin led Martinez through the narrow maintenance passages, their progress measured by the steady increase in atmospheric readings. They reached the observation level above Vexka's containment area just as Robert Morrison entered below. Justin's medical sensors registered the ambassador's vital signs weakened but stable. Her purple plumage had lost its natural iridescence, but her eyes tracked Morrison's movements with predatory focus. Board members' vehicles entering the facility grounds, Wright transmitted. Arrival at main entrance estimated in 28 minutes. Through the reinforced window, Justin watched tours consulting with Morrison, their voices muffled but their intentions clear as they reviewed tissue extraction protocols on a medical tablet. The ambassador's containment cell had been modified with restraint systems designed specifically for saurian physiology. Martinez shifted position, checking angles of approach. Security patrol approaching from the east corridor. We need to move before they block our access to the primary containment controls. Justin's medical display showed Vexka's oxygen saturation slowly improving as the environmental adjustments took effect. The ambassador's respiratory rate was stabilizing, but they would still need to carefully manage her condition during extraction. Team 2, in position at the data center, Micah reported. Security protocols identified, ready to breach on your signal. The facility's cameras showed the board members' convoy passing the outer gates. Robert Morrison checked his tablet, then began issuing orders to prepare for their arrival. The extraction window was rapidly closing. Justin activated his secure channel. All teams, synchronize for simultaneous breach. Initiate on my mark. The weight of the specialized medical kit pressed against his back as he studied the scene below. Success would require precise timing, flawless coordination, and absolute control of Vexka's medical status throughout the extraction. One mistake could compromise not just the ambassador's rescue, but the entire operation to expose Biosynth's illegal research network. Movement below caught Justin's attention as Dr. Tor strode into the containment area, her sample case open on a nearby workstation. Through the observation window, he watched her bypass standard protocols, accessing the cell's medical delivery system without logging the procedure. "Sir, unauthorized substance being administered," Martinez whispered, monitoring the medical readouts. "Cellular activity spiking." Justin's display erupted with warning indicators as Vexka's biosignatures fluctuated wildly. The ambassador's purple plumage bristled, her muscles contracting as the unknown compound flooded her system. "Dr. Wright, we need identification on that compound," Justin transmitted, his medical scanner capturing molecular data. "Her regenerative processes are accelerating beyond safe parameters." A facility-wide alert blared through the corridors. Robert Morrison's voice echoed over the intercom. "Attention all personnel. Environmental system anomalies detected. Security teams initiate full diagnostic sweep. Check all maintenance access points." Boot steps approached from both directions. Martinez gestured toward a side passage. "Medical storage, 40 meters east." They slipped through the doorway as a security team passed, their rifles scanning methodically. Inside the storage area, shelves of medical supplies created a maze of narrow aisles. Justin accessed his tablet, bringing up Dr. Henderson's equipment list. "James here," the comm crackled. "Robert's evacuation protocols, there's a separate system for medical emergencies. Completely isolated network." Dr. Wright's voice followed. "Confirmed. I can trigger a localized alert for the containment zone. Emergency transport systems will activate automatically." The facility's main entrance sensors registered a new arrival. Through the security feeds, they watched Dr. Richard Blackwood march toward the containment area, his expression stormy as he reviewed data on his tablet. "Dr. Tors." Blackwood's sharp voice carried through the observation level. "Explain these protocol deviations. The board explicitly required standard procedures only." Justin directed Martinez through the storage area, collecting specialized oxygen delivery units and altitude-rated transport gear. His medical display continued tracking Vexka's deteriorating condition, her cellular regeneration now dangerously accelerated. Commander Krelth reporting increased activity at landing pad, came through the comm. Board transport approaching, adjusting extraction corridor now. Dr. Tor's voice drifted up from the containment area. The acceleration compound was necessary to demonstrate results. Blackwood interrupted. Your unauthorized experiment has destabilized our most valuable subject before the board's inspection. Morrison, get your security teams down here now. Justin's team reached their final position as Robert Morrison diverted personnel to the containment level. Through the reinforced wall, they heard Vexka's labored breathing, the forced regeneration straining her oxygen-deprived system. Walsh's team reporting, Evans transmitted. Blackwood's inspection connects to a larger transfer operation. They're planning to move all research subjects to hardened sites. Dr. Wright's voice came through clear and precise. Emergency protocols ready. On your mark, I'll trigger containment zone medical alert. You'll have access to emergency transport routes and priority elevator control. Justin checked the specialized medical gear one final time. The portable oxygen system was calibrated for saurian physiology, its display showing optimal mixture settings for high-altitude conditions. His team stationed the transport capsule near the containment cell's emergency access port. Vexka's vital signs continued their dangerous spiral as Dr. Tor's compound pushed her regenerative abilities past sustainable limits. Through the observation panel, Justin watched the ambassador's scaled hands grip her restraints, every muscle rigid with strain. The facility's landing pad sensors registered the board's aircraft on final approach. Commander Krelth's teams signaled ready positions along the medical evacuation route, while Micah reported the data center breach nearly complete. 60 seconds to execute, Justin transmitted, preparing the emergency medical gear. Dr. Wright, initiate on my mark. Execute. Justin's command cut through the tension as Dr. Wright triggered the medical emergency protocols. Warning klaxons blared through the containment zone as automated systems engaged. Primary cell locks disengaged with pneumatic hisses while emergency lighting bathed the corridors in pulsing amber. Through the observation window, Justin watched Dr. Blackwood grab Tor's tablet. Shut it down now. Her cellular breakdown is accelerating beyond sustainable levels. Martinez moved first, leading their descent to the containment level as security teams scattered to respond to cascading system alerts. Justin's medical display showed Vexka's metabolic readings climbing into critical ranges. Multiple teams converging on sublevel 2, Evans transmitted. Morrison's deploying in standard breach formation. He's recognized the pattern. Robert Morrison's voice echoed through facility speakers. Full lockdown protocols, all sectors. This is a coordinated infiltration. The independent medical evacuation network remained active, emergency bulkheads sliding open to create their escape corridor. Justin accessed Vexka's cell through the emergency medical port, Martinez covering their flank. The ambassador's scales had taken on an unnatural sheen, her breathing shallow and rapid. Cellular regeneration rate at 300% above baseline, Justin reported, connecting the portable oxygen system. He administered the first stabilizing compound, watching the medical readouts as Vexka's metabolism began to respond. You're using James's extraction playbook, Morrison's voice carried from the corridor. I trained with him, I know these tactics. Boots thundered against metal as his teams moved to secure evacuation routes. Dr. Wright's voice crackled through comms. Tors is attempting to purge medical logs, intercepting now. Got it. Full documentation of unauthorized trials preserved. The facility's environmental systems suddenly fluctuated, sending security teams scrambling. A new voice joined their comm channel. Dr. Parker here. You've got cascading pressure failures in sectors 3 through 7. I've locked out manual overrides. Maintenance access point ahead, Parker continued. Third panel on your left. I'm creating a pressure differential to mask your exit. Justin monitored Vexka's vitals as they guided the transport capsule through maintenance tunnels. Her cellular activity remained dangerously elevated, requiring constant adjustment of the stabilizing agents. Board aircraft diverting, Commander Krelth transmitted. Local weather forcing them to secondary landing zone. Medical evac unit in position, using ridge line for cover. Martinez's rifle snapped up as they reached the secondary evacuation point. Movement ahead. Professional formation, not Morrison's people. Combat boots clicked against polished floor as a tactical team emerged from cover. Their matte black armor bore no biosynth markings, weapons trained with military precision. Perimeter established, a sharp voice announced. Combat Specialist Hayes assuming control. All units maintain containment protocols. Justin's medical tablet chimed with new warnings as Vexka's regeneration rates fluctuated. He adjusted the oxygen mixture, watching cellular stability readings for signs of improvement. "Sir," Martinez whispered, "northeast corridor clear. Alternative route through mechanical systems available." Dr. Wright's transmission cut through channel static, multiple data streams detected. Someone's extracting research files through isolated servers, tracking source. Signals bouncing through off-site relays. Hayes's tactical team advanced methodically, their movements indicating enhanced combat training. Justin checked Vexka's transport capsule readings one final time, then nodded to Martinez. They would need to move fast to reach Commander Krelth's evacuation zone before Hayes's unit could establish full coverage of the facility's emergency exits. Parker's voice returned, initiating containment purge cycle in adjacent sectors. You'll have 90 seconds of environmental disruption. Moving. Now. Justin analyzed Hayes's approaching squad through the steam-filled corridor. Their formation revealed standard crowd control equipment, sonic disruptors, chemical dispersal units, and non-lethal suppression gear. The loadout matched protocols for managing civilian unrest during high-profile corporate visits. 12 operators, standard containment pattern, Justin whispered to Martinez. They're running protest suppression gear. The tactical team's boots squeaked against the wet floor as sprinklers activated overhead. Dr. Wright's voice crackled through the comm. Fire suppression engaged in sectors 4 through 6. Their targeting systems won't compensate for the moisture interference. Martinez adjusted his position as water cascaded down the corridor walls. Electronic sites losing calibration. We can use that. Environmental systems accessed. A new voice transmitted. Technical Sergeant Ray's facility maintenance. I've been tracking biosynth's operation. Emergency ventilation protocol initiating now. Dense clouds of steam erupted from ceiling vents, reducing visibility to near zero. Hayes's teams targeting lasers scattered uselessly through the vapor. This way, Ray's guided. Maintenance bypass through sublevel 3. It'll take you around their blocking positions. Justin monitored Vexka's medical readouts as they navigated through narrow maintenance passages. Her cellular regeneration rates continued to spike erratically, forcing constant adjustments to the stabilizing compounds. "Commander," Evans transmitted, "Walsh's team just cracked their data routing. Everything's feeding to a desert facility project Echo in the Mojave. It's their primary synthesis center." "Confirmed," Miker added. "Data extraction complete. We've uncovered trial schedules. They're starting human testing within 48 hours." The transport capsule's warning indicators flashed as they reached a junction. Robert Morrison's voice echoed through facility speakers. "All emergency bulkheads engaging. Full facility lockdown initiated." Massive steel doors began sliding shut throughout the complex. Ray's accessed a maintenance terminal, fingers flying across the keys. There's a vertical shaft that bypasses the lockdown grid. Warning oxygen levels are 30% below normal in that section. Justin checked Vexka's respiratory readings. The reduced oxygen will strain her system. We'll need to boost supplemental flow. Multiple security teams approaching from the north, Commander Krelth reported. Moving evac unit to secondary extraction point based on Reyes' survey data. Through the maintenance shaft's grating, Justin observed Hayes' team struggling with malfunctioning equipment. Their sonic dispersal units sparked in the humid air, electronic systems compromised by the environmental changes. Dr. Henderson here, the medical channel activated. Justin, I'm seeing chemical interaction warnings. The experimental compound is creating unusual reactions with the standard stabilizers. Justin adjusted the treatment protocols, compensating for the altitude variations, implementing modified stabilization sequence. Cellular activity still elevated but responding to adjustments. New data transfers detected, Dr. Wright transmitted. They're moving research files through hidden channels, multiple endpoints, encryption patterns shifting. The maintenance shaft narrowed as they climbed, oxygen sensors showing decreasing atmospheric pressure. Justin increased Vexka's supplemental oxygen flow, watching her vital signs closely. Martinez signaled from above. Junction ahead. Decision point: we can engage Hayes' team in the main corridor or continue through the low-oxygen section. Commander Krelth's voice cut through. Diversion teams in position, ready to draw their attention on your mark. The transport capsule's medical displays reflected the ambassador's unstable condition. Either choice carried significant risks. Combat could further destabilize her system, while oxygen deprivation might trigger another regenerative spike. Through the shaft's ventilation grills, Justin watched Hayes deploy his operators in textbook crowd control positions. Their non-lethal weapon systems continued to malfunction in the steam-filled environment, creating an exploitable tactical weakness. Security Chief Evans transmitted updated intelligence. Project Echo facility coordinates confirmed. Mobilizing investigation units now. The facility's environmental systems fluctuated again as Reyes implemented another ventilation adjustment. Steam continued to pour from ceiling vents, further degrading Hayes' team's electronic targeting capabilities. Justin studied Vexka's medical readouts, calculating risk factors as Commander Krelth's diversion teams moved into position. The transport capsule's oxygen reserves showed sufficient capacity for the maintenance route, but the ambassador's cellular stability remained precarious. Justin analyzed the medical readings one final time before making his decision. We take the maintenance route. Hayes' team presents too high a risk to the ambassador's condition. Martinez nodded, already securing their position as Justin adjusted the transport capsule's oxygen flow. The narrow utility passage stretched ahead, emergency lighting casting harsh shadows across exposed conduits and pressure regulators. Oxygen concentration dropping, Reyes transmitted through their comm channel. 68% of surface levels and declining. There's an emergency oxygen station 30 meters ahead. Justin watched Vexka's vitals fluctuate on his medical display. Her scaled skin had taken on a pale, almost translucent quality under the harsh lighting. He administered another dose of stabilizing compounds through the capsule's delivery system. The team halted at the oxygen station. Justin integrated the spare tanks into their transport unit's supply network, while Martinez maintained defensive coverage of both approaches. The additional oxygen reserves pushed their equipment's capacity to its limits. New contact, Evans's voice cut through the comm static. CDC transport on approach, pilots identifying as Dr. Marcus Blackwood. Database confirms he's Richard's brother. Dr. Wright's transmission followed immediately, intercepted internal communications. Marcus exposed Biosynth's illegal research program to federal authorities. He's leading a containment team. Emergency, klaxons blared through the facility's speaker system. Robert Morrison's voice echoed through the corridors. Attention all research personnel. Emergency evacuation protocols now in effect. Proceed to designated extraction points immediately. Multiple security breaches detected, Dr. Wright reported. Morrison's evacuation order is creating system access conflicts, exploiting gaps now. Commander, you have limited access to sub-level security gates. The transport capsule's medical alerts flashed red. Justin studied the readouts, his breath catching as he processed the data. Cellular degradation accelerating. The compound is attacking her tissue structure. Justin, Dr. Henderson's voice carried urgency. Standard stabilization protocols won't be sufficient. The main xenobiology lab has specialized equipment for cellular reconstruction. It's her best chance. Martinez activated his tactical display, scanning facility schematics. Lab access is restricted. Hayes's team will have it locked down. Specimen transfer system, Reyes interjected. It bypasses main corridors, connects directly to the lab's containment zone. The tunnels are narrow, designed for sample transport pods. The capsule's warning indicators continued their urgent display as Justin considered their options. Vexka's breathing had grown shallow, her regenerative response failing to counter the accelerating tissue damage. New data transmission detected, Dr. Wright announced. Multiple channels active, routing through. Coordinates match a location within Saurian space. Tor's research data is being backed up off-world. Security Chief Evans broke into the channel. Project Echo facility is mobilizing. They're preparing to move test subjects to an offshore site. Corporate registry traces lead to shell companies. This goes beyond biosynth. Justin checked the specimen transfer system's access point. The tunnel's dimensions would barely accommodate Vexka's transport capsule. Their medical support equipment would need to follow through separate channels. Hayes's team is securing the lab perimeter, James Morrison transmitted. Robert knows you'll need that equipment. He's ordered them to hold position at any cost. Dr. Wright's voice carried tension. Hidden server active in sublevel 6. Someone still coordinating with external biosynth assets. Evans, I'm sending you the transmission data now. The ambassador's vital signs continued their dangerous decline. Justin measured the specimen transfer tunnel's dimensions against their equipment requirements. They would need to split their resources, moving Vexka through the narrow passage, while part of the team secured an alternate route for their support gear. Through the maintenance shaft's ventilation grating, Justin observed CDC personnel establishing containment protocols in the upper levels. Marcus Blackwood's team moved with practiced efficiency, deploying biohazard sensors and security cordons. Commander Krelth's forces reported successful penetration of the facility's lower levels, but sporadic resistance from biosynth staff attempting to purge research records slowed their advance. The transport capsule's oxygen reserves showed 40 minutes remaining at current consumption rates. Justin studied the specimen transfer system's access panel, calculating survival probabilities against their dwindling options. Martinez secured their position as Justin prepared the capsule for transfer tunnel insertion. The narrow passage would leave them vulnerable, but Hayes's tactical team had left them no alternative. Behind them, the sounds of CDC containment procedures echoed through the facility's ventilation network. Justin assessed their dwindling options as facility alarms continued blaring overhead. The specimen transfer system's access panel gleamed under harsh emergency, lighting a narrow portal barely wide enough for the transport capsule. Initiating equipment breakdown sequence, Justin announced, detaching non-essential medical modules from the capsule. Martinez, help me reconfigure these stabilization units for separate transport. Reyes's fingers danced across the access terminal, overriding sample transport protocols. System designed for biological containment, I'll need 30 seconds to bypass the automated checks. The capsule's displays showed Vexka's deteriorating cellular structure. Justin administered another stabilizing dose while disassembling their support equipment. Dr. Henderson, We're proceeding with minimal medical support. How will this affect treatment options? Cellular damage accelerating, Henderson transmitted. You'll need the lab's equipment within 20 minutes to prevent permanent degradation. I'm sending calibration protocols now. Martinez secured their separated equipment as Reyes accessed the transfer system. The narrow tunnel stretched into darkness, its metallic walls designed for automated specimen container transport rather than human passage. CDC teams establishing containment zones on multiple levels, Dr. Wright reported. Marcus Blackwood's authority is creating security conflicts. Hayes's team just lost access to the upper research sections. Justin carefully guided the transport capsule into the specimen transfer tunnel. The confined space forced them to proceed single file, with Martinez following close behind managing their divided medical equipment. "Commander," Evans broke in, "Walsh's team just traced those offshore facility coordinates. Match confirmed Helios Biomedical Installation, their biosynth's primary competitor in regenerative research." The tunnel curved sharply, forcing Justin to adjust the capsule's orientation. Warning indicators flashed as the movement stressed Vexka's unstable condition. Through the capsule's transparent section, her scaled skin had developed a concerning grayish tint. "Multiple contacts detected," Commander Krelth transmitted. "Private military unit led by Colonel Tanner engaging our lower-level teams. They're specifically targeting research data storage." Dr. Wright's voice carried urgency. Hidden server showing massive data transfers. Files confirm 3 additional Saurian test subjects at Project Echo. The synthesized compound it's causing severe degradation in human trials. The specimen transfer tunnel intersected with a vertical shaft. Justin secured the capsule while Martinez redistributed their equipment load. Above them, the sounds of CDC containment procedures echoed through the facility's structure. "Tanner's team has special operations training patterns," Commander Krelth observed. Evans, checking federal databases. Confirmed connection to Galactic Assembly Commerce Division officials. Justin checked the capsule's oxygen reserves as they navigated the vertical section. Vexka's breathing had grown more labored, cellular breakdown accelerating without full stabilization support. "Lab access point ahead," Reyes guided through the comm. "Warning Hayes's team approaching from east and north corridors. CDC containment procedures are pushing them back toward your position." The tunnel widened slightly as they approached the xenobiology lab specimen receiving port. Justin monitored Vexka's degrading vital signs while Martinez assembled critical medical components. "Someone's accessing environmental controls," Dr. Wright warned. "Detecting attempts to trigger decontamination protocols. This would eliminate both personnel and evidence." Reyes transmitted access codes as they reached the lab entry point. "Security systems bypassed, but it's triggering additional alerts. Hayes's team will detect the breach." Justin positioned the transport capsule near the lab's stabilization equipment. Through reinforced windows, he observed Hayes's operators taking defensive positions in adjacent corridors. The CDC's containment procedures had forced them to split their forces, creating exploitable gaps in their coverage. Time indicators showed less than 15 minutes before permanent cellular damage. Justin began calibrating the lab's stabilization array while Martinez integrated their remaining medical equipment. The capsule's warnings intensified as Vexka's tissue degradation reached critical levels. Justin integrated the final stabilization module as Vexka's tissue degradation reached critical levels. The lab's advanced medical displays projected detailed cellular imaging across curved holographic panels, revealing the accelerating breakdown of her regenerative systems. "Security breach in Sector 7, Reyes transmitted, fingers dancing across the access terminal. "CDC containment protocols creating system conflicts. I can. Yes, redirecting emergency access through maintenance corridors." Martinez secured their position at the emergency medical entrance while Justin calibrated the xenobiology lab's treatment array. The specialized equipment hummed to life, its diagnostic system scanning Vexca's deteriorating cellular structure. Multiple contacts approaching your position, Dr. Wright's voice crackled through the comm. Hayes's team moving to intercept. Wait, new federal tags appearing in the system. FBI Xenological Crimes Division accessing facility security. Through the reinforced windows, Justin observed Dr. Torres frantically accessing specimen storage units. The researcher extracted specific sample containers, moving with practiced efficiency toward the lab's disposal system. Those samples, Dr. Henderson transmitted urgently. The compound's base structure we needed to develop a counteragent. Justin moved swiftly, securing the remaining vials as Torres reached for the disposal controls. The researcher's eyes widened in recognition, his hand freezing above the interface. Step away from the console, Martinez ordered, weapon trained on Torres' position. The lab's environmental system cycled, indicating advancing CDC containment measures. Doctor. Henderson's voice guided Justin through the stabilization sequence while Reyes established a secure uplink for real-time consultation. Cellular decay reaching terminal velocity, Henderson reported. Initiating emergency restoration protocols. Justin, increase regenerative suppressants by 40%. Security alerts flashed across Reyes' terminal. Hayes' team breaching outer lab security. Colonel Tanner's contractors approaching through specimen storage. Multiple vectors of approach. Confirmed movement at Mojave facility, Commander Krelth transmitted. Unauthorized aircraft detected. Biosynth leadership mobilizing. Justin adjusted treatment parameters as Vexca's vital signs fluctuated. The lab's stabilization field enveloped her transport capsule, specialized energies targeting the artificial feedback loop devastating her cellular structure. Dr. Zhao, Security Chief Evans broke in. Walsh's team confirmed he's Project Echo's architect. Military research background explains the weaponization approach. The lab's security doors registered multiple breach attempts. Through transparent panels, Justin observed CDC personnel deploying containment barriers in adjacent corridors. Special Agent Catherine Lewis's federal team established position markers, their presence forcing Hayes' tactical unit to adjust their approach vectors. Henderson, Justin transmitted, monitoring treatment readouts, cellular recovery at 18%. How long until we achieve stabilization? Keep the regenerative suppressant steady, Henderson replied. The compound created an artificial acceleration loop. We need to wait these readings. The weapon wasn't designed for immediate effect. It's engineered for species-wide deployment. Reyes' terminal flashed new warnings. Environmental systems compromised. CDC containment protocols affecting lab pressure seals. We have minutes before full lockdown. Martinez repositioned as impacts echoed through the outer security doors. Multiple breach points. Hayes' team cutting through emergency access. Tanner's contractors approaching specimen storage entrance. Justin, Dr. Wright transmitted, accessing biosynth secured databases. Project Echo documentation confirms they're transferring operations to Mojave. 3 additional Saurian subjects already in position. The lab's stabilization field pulsed as Vexca's cellular structure began responding to treatment. Justin analyzed the compound samples, their molecular structure displaying on diagnostic screens. The weaponized agent showed signs of military-grade bioengineering. Dr. Zhao's expertise evident in its design. Federal teams engaging Hayes' position, Evans reported. Agent Lewis deploying tactical units. Morrison security forces splitting coverage northwest corridor clear for potential extraction. The outer lab doors groaned under continued breach attempts. Justin secured the compound samples while monitoring Vexca's recovery progress. The stabilization treatment showed promising results, but evacuation protocols would interrupt the process prematurely. "Commander," Justin transmitted, "we need 10 more minutes for minimum stabilization. After that." A massive impact shook the lab's reinforced doors. Through security feeds, Justin observed Hayes's team positioning breaching charges, while Tanner's contractors established coverage positions. Above them, CDC containment protocols continued their systematic advance through the facility's levels. Martinez's tactical display tracked multiple approaching threats as the lab's environmental systems began their final containment sequence. The stabilization field maintaining Vexca's treatment pulsed with increasing intensity, racing against both cellular degradation and impending facility lockdown. Reyes's fingers flew across his terminal, attempting to delay the automated containment procedures. System access destabilizing, multiple security protocols activating simultaneously. "I can't." Another impact rattled the lab's security barriers. The sound of breaching charges being armed echoed through the reinforced walls as Justin monitored Vexca's vital signs, watching cellular restoration percentages climb agonizingly slowly across the medical displays. The medical display's readings spiked as multiple breach warnings flashed across the lab's security system. Justin adjusted the final stabilization parameters while Reyes yanked a reinforced lab table onto its side, creating a defensive position near the primary entrance. "Breaching charges detected," Martinez reported, scanning tactical readings. "Two teams, coordinated approach." The executive elevator's indicator lit up, drawing their attention to the rear of the lab. "Doctor." Victor Zhao stepped out, flanked by black-clad security contractors bearing Helios biomedical insignias. His eyes locked onto the secure storage unit containing the synthesized regenerative compounds. "Henderson," Justin transmitted, monitoring Vexca's cellular recovery. "Readings show anomalous interaction between the compound and her natural regeneration. Previous treatment protocols aren't accounting for the variance." "Cross-referencing molecular patterns," Henderson responded. "The synthetic agent is creating feedback loops in her regenerative system. You'll need the specialized equipment from restricted storage to stabilize the reaction." The same storage unit Zhao's contractors now approached. Reyes's fingers danced across his terminal. "Commander, intercepting encrypted transmissions. Biosynth board activating Protocol Omega at Mojave facility. 6 were window for subject relocation." Explosive charges detonated at both lab entrances simultaneously. Hayes's tactical units breached in coordinated formation, only to find their advance split by Morrison's automated defense systems. Reinforced barriers slammed down, dividing their forces between approach vectors. "FBI teams have secured communications," Agent Lewis transmitted. "Morrison's external links are severed, but he's activated internal defense protocols. Be advised multiple sections are being sealed." Justin accessed the restricted storage controls as Zhao's contractors began cutting through the secondary entrance's security seals. Their specialized equipment sliced through reinforced panels with practiced efficiency. "Detecting unauthorized access to containment systems," Dr. Wright warned. "Someone's preparing to trigger a breach protocol." The lab's environmental readings fluctuated as CDC containment procedures affected pressure seals. Justin extracted critical treatment components while Martinez covered their position. Through security feeds, they observed Colonel Tanner's contractors securing a secondary landing pad. "Doctor." "Blackwood attempting containment override," Reyes reported, "but Morrison's automated systems are blocking access. Emergency ventilation systems show a potential bypass, but accessing it will expose our position." The cutting equipment breached the secondary entrance's outer seal. Zhao's contractors adjusted their equipment for the final barrier, while Hayes's divided units maintained pressure from both primary approaches. Justin, Henderson transmitted urgently, analyzing Zhao's research data. The successful treatment requires both synthetic and natural regenerative factors. That's why they needed multiple test subjects. The compound samples in restricted storage contain critical stabilization elements. Vexca's vital signs stabilized under the initial treatment, but cellular readings indicated the need for additional intervention. Justin prepared the specialized equipment as Zhao's team breached the final security barrier. Federal teams mobilizing to Mojave facility, Security Chief Evans reported. Satellite feeds show increased activity at multiple biosynth locations. They're coordinating a global relocation effort. The lab's ventilation system cycled down as environmental controls reached critical levels. Through reinforced windows, Justin observed Dr. Torres attempting to access a secondary terminal. The researcher's movements suggested familiarity with Morrison's security protocols. Commander Krelth, Rays transmitted, detecting additional aircraft approaching from Mojave Vector. Thermal signatures match biosynth extraction vessels. Justin integrated the new treatment components while Martinez repositioned to cover multiple angles. The lab's diagnostic displays projected detailed molecular interactions, revealing the complex relationship between synthetic compounds and natural saurian regeneration. Zhao's contractors breached the final barrier, specialized cutting equipment leaving molten edges on reinforced panels. Hayes's units maintained sustained pressure at both primary entrances, while Colonel Tanner's team advanced through specimen storage. The facility's automated systems continued sealing sections, trapping various tactical units in separate zones. Justin monitored Vexca's treatment progress, as alarms indicated multiple security breaches across different levels. Their position in the xenobiology lab had become a focal point of converging forces, each group advancing with distinct objectives toward their increasingly vulnerable position. Justin focused on the molecular interaction display as plasma cutters carved through the final security barrier. The synthesized compounds merged with Vexca's natural regenerative factors, creating unexpected chemical cascades across her cellular structure. Multiple breaches imminent, Martinez transmitted, tracking tactical feeds. Hayes's team splitting formation. A figure emerged from Hayes's forward unit, hands raised. Dr. Blackwood, Master Sergeant Cooper called out. I served as a combat medic. Those cellular readings, they're weaponizing healing factors. Justin adjusted treatment parameters while Cooper moved cautiously forward. The compound accelerates human tissue regeneration but creates devastating feedback loops in saurian biology. Hayes doesn't know, Cooper transmitted, taking cover behind a reinforced station. They told us this was a corporate espionage case. He transmitted tactical data showing Hayes's planned breach points. Automated defense turrets emerged from concealed ceiling panels. Morrison's security systems targeted multiple approach vectors as Zhao's contractors breached the secondary entrance. Found a maintenance override, Rays reported, analyzing system architecture. But accessing the terminal means crossing Hayes's line of fire. Through security feeds, Justin observed Tanner's contractors entering specimen storage. They extracted secured containers while Dr. Zhao connected to a data terminal, initiating encrypted transfers. Detecting external database access, Dr. Wright transmitted. Tracing. Biosynth facility in Southeast Asia. Similar research signatures at multiple sites. Vexca's vital signs spiked. The combination of Tor's experimental agent and standard regenerative factors created volatile molecular interactions. Justin analyzed the chemical cascade, identifying a critical stabilization window. Additional samples recovered, Tanner's voice echoed through tactical channels, initiating secure transport to Mojave facility. Federal teams deploying to Mojave site, Evans transmitted. Deputy Director wards XCD strike team securing perimeter. Satellite shows transport vehicles at multiple entry points. Raises terminal flashed new warnings. Protocol Omega Delta activating at biosynth facilities worldwide. Automated decontamination sequences initiating. Justin integrated specialized treatment components while Cooper provided covering fire. Martinez tracked multiple tactical units converging on their position as Commander Krelth's forces advanced through lower levels. Research data secured, Krelth transmitted. Documents confirm coordinated operations between pharmaceutical consortiums. Multiple sites housing Saurian subjects identified. Ray's deployed doctor. Wright's specialized virus, corrupting but preserving Zhao's data transfer. The researcher's security contractors moved to secure remaining samples as Hayes's team maintained pressure at primary entrances. Biosynth board activating emergency protocols, Evans reported. 12 international facilities implementing containment measures. Walsh coordinating with global authorities. Justin monitored cellular stabilization readings as automated defense systems engaged multiple targets. Morrison's turrets tracked movement patterns, while Commander Krelth's forces encountered resistance in their advance. Mojave facility showing increased activity, Dr. Wright transmitted. Thermal signatures suggest preparation for major operations transfer. The lab's diagnostic displays showed Vexca's cellular structure responding to adjusted treatment protocols. Justin integrated final stabilization components, while Martinez coordinated defensive positions with Cooper's tactical insight. Facility security systems compromising Krelth's advance, Ray's reported. Tanner's contractors establishing blocking positions in lower sectors. Through reinforced panels, Justin observed Hayes's remaining units repositioning for coordinated breach attempts. Zhao's contractors secured research samples as automated turrets tracked multiple approach vectors. The situation balanced on a razor's edge of competing tactical priorities and critical medical intervention. Plasma cutters finished carving through the final barrier. Zhao's contractors poured through the breach, weapons raised. Justin tracked their movement while adjusting Vexca's treatment parameters, noting their organized sweep pattern. Temperature anomaly detected, Henderson transmitted. The synthesized compound stability readings are fluctuating. It requires continuous refrigeration. Justin analyzed the environmental displays. Morrison's automated protocols had activated backup cooling systems throughout the lab, preserving both their evidence and their options. He integrated stable samples with conventional medical compounds, watching cellular degradation rates decrease on the diagnostic screens. Multiple private military contractors approaching Mojave facility, Evans transmitted. Thermal signatures match known Black Ops profiles. Biosynth's board authorized deployment of contingency teams to all research sites. Ray's repositioned behind reinforced cover, fingers flying across his mobile terminal. Maintaining environmental control. Vexca's stability at 62% and climbing. Cooper gestured toward Hayes's forward units. They'll breach here and here, he indicated, marking tactical overlays. Standard pattern 2 teams, pincer movement. Martinez adjusted automated turret positions based on Cooper's intel, establishing interlocking fields of fire. Through security feeds, they observed Commander Krelth's forces advancing through the facility's lower levels. The commander's tactical channel crackled with activity. Hidden sublevel located, Krelth reported. Accessing research archives. Project Echo files discovered. Prototype delivery system for weaponized regenerative compounds. Genetic targeting capabilities confirmed. Alarms blared as Colonel Tanner's team breached specimen storage containment. Emergency quarantine barriers slammed down throughout adjacent sections. Ray's terminal flashed urgent warnings, detecting unauthorized access to self-destruct protocols. Wright transmitted, attempting to block remote activation. Hayes's unit exploited the momentary gap in their defensive coverage. Breach charges detonated at precise points Cooper had predicted. Martinez tracked multiple ingress vectors while Justin completed Vexca's treatment protocol, integrating stabilized compounds with adjusted medical parameters. Morrison initiating server purge, Wright reported. Virus preserving critical data pathways. Commander Krelth's team continuing evidence extraction. Automatic weapons fire erupted from multiple angles. Cooper coordinated with Martinez, using his tactical knowledge to predict and counter Hayes's unit movements. Through the chaos, Justin observed Dr. Zhao's selective securing of research samples, the scientist's choices revealing critical intelligence about biosynth's priorities. Federal teams intercepting biosynth transports at multiple sites, Evans transmitted. Satellite shows coordinated evacuation attempts at international facilities. Walsh's team identified key. The transmission cut off as new alarms activated. Wright's voice came through with urgent clarity. Detection of unauthorized data transfers. Biosynth sleeper agents activating within government channels. Ray's accessed facility schematics while maintaining critical systems control. Located potential extraction route through waste disposal. Hazardous conditions, but pathway remains clear. Commander Krelth's forces secured positions in lower sectors, establishing a potential escape corridor. Justin analyzed their tactical options while monitoring Vexca's stabilization progress. The treatment displayed positive results, but moving her through the facility's waste systems would introduce significant medical risks. Martinez marked tactical overlays showing both extraction options. Krelth secured route through lower levels versus Ray's waste disposal pathway. Each choice carried distinct advantages and critical vulnerabilities. Justin checked Vexca's vital signs, weighing their rapidly diminishing options as weapons fire intensified around their position. Multiple breach points compromised, Cooper reported, tracking Hayes's tactical movements. They're establishing containment positions. Through security feeds, they observed Tanner's contractors securing additional research samples, while Krelth's forces engaged them at key chokepoints. The facility's automated defenses continued tracking multiple hostile targets as alarms indicated further security breaches across different sectors. Biosynth's coordinated evacuation efforts accelerated worldwide as federal teams scrambled to secure critical sites. Justin integrated final treatment components while analyzing their increasingly limited tactical options. The lab's defensive position would not hold indefinitely against the converging forces, forcing an imminent decision about their extraction route. Justin accessed the waste disposal system schematics on his terminal. We moved through maintenance shaft B7. Ray's timed the automated cycles to clear our path. Acknowledged. Ray's fingers moved across his interface. First cycle in 40 seconds. Martinez and Cooper secured medical transport equipment while Justin monitored Vexca's vital signs. The lab's defensive position deteriorated as Hayes's units established containment formations. Found these. Martinez dragged reinforced storage containers from a supply alcove. We can modify them for radiation shielding. The team worked quickly, integrating protective panels around Vexca's medical transport unit. Through security feeds, they observed Commander Krelth's forces engaging Tanner's contractors in the lower levels. Alert, Dr. Wright transmitted. Detecting automated disposal protocols targeting specific biological samples. Biosynth programmed failsafes to destroy evidence during breaches. Justin accessed nearby storage units, retrieving critical samples moments before the disposal sequence activated. The specimens provided concrete proof of Biosynth's weaponized regeneration research. Ray's guided them through the first maintenance access point. The disposal system's environment assaulted their senses, chemical fumes mixed with the sharp tang of industrial cleaners. Their modified transport unit protected Vexka from the hazardous conditions. Commander Krelth's team discovered a vehicle bay, Evans reported. Specialized transport equipment designed for biological specimens, confirms Biosynth's capability to move test subjects between facilities. The team navigated through narrow maintenance corridors. Rays coordinated with facility systems, timing their movements between automated waste cycles. Security feeds showed Hayes's units sweeping their previous position. Satellite analysis of Mojave facility complete, Evans transmitted. Defense systems exceed military specifications. Automated turret networks, reinforced containment zones. They prepared for government intervention. Movement echoed through the disposal system. Maintenance drones emerged from recess stations, their sensors scanning methodically for unauthorized personnel. Morrison activated facility drones, Wright warned, reprogrammed for security operations. Rays analyzed the drone patrol patterns, found gaps in their search algorithms. We can time our movements between sensor sweeps. Cooper accessed tactical channels. Commander Krelth, requesting diversionary action at Junction C4, draw security forces away from the disposal system exit. Acknowledged, Krelth responded, moving units to position. Justin checked Vexka's medical readings. The disposal system's environment affected her recovery despite their protective measures. He adjusted treatment protocols, compensating for the elevated chemical exposure. Multiple data transfers detected, Wright reported. Biosynth moving research data to offshore servers. Shell companies registered in non-extradition territories. The team discovered discarded research materials during their transit. Documentation revealed human trials of weaponized compounds test subjects unaware of the experimental nature of their treatments. CDC teams securing upper levels, Evans transmitted. Dr. Zhao attempting to activate emergency lockdown. Rays engaged facility systems, blocking Zhao's commands while maintaining their escape route. Cyber countermeasures deployed. Exit path remains clear. Satellite feeds showed transport vehicles converging on the Mojave facility. Evans coordinated federal response teams to intercept Biosynth's convoy. Commander Krelth's forces extracting evidence from lower sectors, Wright reported. Satellite detecting multiple aircraft approaching. Electronic signatures match known corporate security contractors. The team reached their extraction point as Krelth's diversion drew security forces away from the disposal system exit. Justin monitored Vexka's vital signs while Rays maintained system access, preventing automated security measures from sealing their escape route. Through tactical channels, they observed Biosynth's private military contractors establishing positions around the facility perimeter. The situation evolved from corporate security response to armed military engagement as additional aircraft approached their position. Rays accessed maintenance schematics as chemical fumes intensified around them. Waste processing cycle in 30 seconds. We need to modify our route. Justin examined the transport unit's integrity seals while caustic vapors swirled through adjacent chambers. The disposal system's corrosive environment had begun degrading their protective equipment. He retrieved medical supplies from their transport gear, reinforcing Vexka's environmental barriers. Multiple aircraft approaching from Vector 270, Evans transmitted. Electronic signatures identify Aegis security solutions. Commander Davidson's extraction teams confirmed. Cooper accessed an emergency communications terminal, intercepting tactical data. Hayes's channel is active. They're discussing something called Protocol Omega Prime. Wright's voice cut through the channel. Accessing Biosynth command protocols. Protocol requires board authentication. It's a purge order chemical agents designed to eliminate evidence and witnesses. Maintenance drones emerged from recess stations ahead, forcing the team to shelter in a defunct processing node. Martinez spotted storage lockers along the chamber wall. Inside, they found emergency medical supplies and radiation shielding. These will work. Justin integrated the shielding with Vexka's transport unit while Reyes bypassed the drone patrol algorithms. The reinforced protection compensated for increasing environmental toxicity. Commander Krelth, status update, Cooper transmitted. Engaged with Tanner's units in Sublevel 6, Krelth responded. Located documentation of human trials. Test subjects exhibited cellular degradation patterns matching Saurian casualties. Through Rights Network access, they observed Biosynth's global facilities implementing synchronized security protocols. Dr. Zhao's digital signature appeared on automated commands targeting research sites worldwide. New contact, Evans reported. Dr. Samuel Lewis requesting secure channel. Claims to have facility access codes through Dr. Zhao's technical liaison position. The maintenance terminal displayed Lewis's transmission. Primary security grid codes attached. Warning: autonomous defense systems activate if unauthorized users breach containment areas. Reyes analyzed the supplied codes while Justin monitored rising toxicity levels. The disposal system's independent architecture provided unexpected access to Biosynth's network. Located automated transport logs, Wright transmitted. Regular biological shipments between here and Singapore. Hidden research center beneath corporate headquarters. Davidson's forces established sensor positions above, their equipment capable of detecting biological signatures through facility infrastructure. Justin observed their tactical feeds through Wright's access, noting the deployment of specialized containment units. FBI counter-tactical teams engaging, Evans reported. Director Reynolds coordinating response to prevent facility lockdown. The team reached a critical intersection where the disposal system met a secure maintenance tunnel. Through security feeds, they observed Commander Krelth's extraction vehicles in a nearby emergency bay. Alert, Wright transmitted. Board member transport arriving at main facility. 3 corporate aircraft requesting emergency clearance. Martinez checked tactical overlays. Davidson's teams are covering all exits. They're inserting through maintenance access points. Justin reinforced Vexka's medical stabilization as they approached the vehicle bay access point. The transport logs revealed the full scope of Biosynth's operations, a network of hidden facilities conducting illegal research on both human and Saurian subjects. Multiple data transfers detected, Wright reported. Dr. Zhao implementing worldwide security protocols, evidence at risk across all research sites. Cooper coordinated with Krelth's forces, while Reyes maintained their access through the disposal system's architecture. The team progressed toward the emergency vehicles, knowing Davidson's units monitored every potential escape route. Through facility sensors, they tracked Biosynth board members approaching the complex. Their presence suggested direct oversight of remaining test subject relocation. Justin checked Vexka's vital signs as they prepared to breach the final barrier between them and Krelth's extraction team. The final barrier between the disposal system and vehicle bay yielded to Reyes' maintenance codes. Caustic fumes dissipated as the team guided Vexka's transport unit through the narrow access point. 3 modified tactical vehicles waited within, their medical systems already powered and operational. Movement on external sensors, Evans transmitted. Davidson's teams deploying tactical pods around vehicle access points. Justin observed the pods through security feeds, sleek insertion units designed for rapid breach operations. The teams emerging carried specialized equipment that made Cooper pause. That's Biosynth tech, Cooper said, examining the feed. Non-lethal suppression systems based on their Saurian research. Explains their urgency, Evans responded. They're protecting proprietary military applications. Wright's voice cut through their tactical channel. Critical intel board authorized Phase 2 subject transfer to Singapore. 3 cargo aircraft preparing for departure. Justin connected Vexka's transport to the vehicle's medical systems, examining cellular data on the diagnostic display. The readings revealed disturbing patterns, degraded regenerative capabilities throughout her tissue samples. The compound disrupts natural healing, Justin reported, adjusting treatment protocols. Long-term exposure prevents normal regeneration. They needed multiple test subjects to maintain viable research samples. Cooper accessed the facility's weapons network. Sending authenticated turret codes now. We have system control. Disabling bay defenses, Reyes confirmed. Creating our window. Gunfire erupted from the opposite entrance as Tanner's contractors attempted to force their way through. Krelth's forces responded immediately, precise shots keeping the attackers contained while maintaining their evacuation route. Through Wright's network access, they observed Biosynth's global systems activating deletion protocols. Research data streamed to offshore servers as local drives wiped themselves clean. Board members arriving via helicopter, Evans transmitted. Marcus Reed's security team implementing facility lockdown. Additional subjects still in research zones, Cooper warned. They'll be trapped inside. Krelth's team secured vital samples from the contractor's position delivery systems designed for mass deployment of the regenerative compound. The technology's military applications were unmistakable. Singapore facility showing increased activity, Wright reported. Emergency protocols activated. They're consolidating their program. Justin monitored Vexka's vital signs as they loaded into the tactical vehicles. The medical system compensated for her degraded healing, but the underlying cellular damage remained evident in her tissue samples. More contractors incoming, Evans warned. Multiple approaches, biosynths mobilizing everything they have. Reyes accessed the facility schematics. Located emergency tunnel access. Used for hazmat transport. Environmental systems compromised, Wright transmitted, analyzing the tunnel's data feeds. Morrison's team modified containment protocols. Davidson's forces reached their breach positions. Through tactical feeds, they observed specialized teams preparing their entry charges while Singapore-bound aircraft taxied on the private runway above. Time to choose, Cooper said, checking their vehicle systems. Risk Morrison's tunnel or punch through Davidson's lines. The vehicle bay's external doors began cycling their lock mechanisms as Reed's security protocols spread through the facility network. Inside their transport, Justin stabilized Vexka's medical support while calculating their rapidly diminishing window for escape. Morrison's tunnel, Justin decided, checking Vexka's medical readouts. Davidson's teams carry biosynth suppression tech. We can't risk direct contact. The convoy split into 3 vehicles. Justin guided the medical transport while Krelth's forces distributed between 2 tactical units, each carrying secured research samples and support teams. Caustic mist filled the tunnel as they entered. Industrial decontaminants sprayed from recessed nozzles, creating a chemical barrier designed to eliminate biological evidence. Reyes's fingers flew across his terminal, accessing ventilation controls. Creating safe zones between dispersal points, Reyes transmitted. Tunnel architecture gives us access to independent environmental systems. Justin monitored the transport's seal integrity as they penetrated deeper. The reinforced protection held against Morrison's countermeasures, but warning indicators flashed across his medical display. Vexka's tissue samples showed accelerating cellular degradation. Walsh's team reporting in, Evans announced. Satellite confirms 3 research wings with specialized saurian containment. Power consumption matches stasis system profiles. Cooper transmitted facility codes through their tactical network. Emergency containment protocols weaken trap Davidson's teams in peripheral zones. Metal barriers slammed into place behind them as Cooper's authentication triggered selective lockdowns. Through security feeds, they observed Aegis teams sealed in adjacent sectors. Alert, Wright transmitted. Protocol Omega terminal activated at Singapore headquarters. Biosynth implementing global data purge. Wright's recovery programs extracted critical files as deletion commands spread through the network. Research logs detailed systematic attacks on Saurian healing capabilities, with Vexca's medical data providing physical confirmation. Multiple teams converging on tunnel exits, Krelth reported. Tanner's contractors establishing blocking positions. Ray's accessed maintenance schematics. Found unmarked bypasses. We can avoid their prepared positions. Justin stabilized Vexca's life support as compound effects intensified. Her regenerative systems displayed increasing failure patterns, each spike correlating with Biosynth's experimental timeline. New data transfer detected, Wright announced. Board authorizing emergency protocols at Mojave. They're prepping remaining subjects for transport. Walsh's intelligence stream revealed political connections extending into the Galactic Assembly. Security Council members had sheltered Biosynth's program, transforming a corporate investigation into an interstellar conspiracy. FBI tactical teams securing surface access, Evans transmitted. Mining complex shows multiple heat signatures. Biosynths trying to seal our escape routes. The convoy approached a critical junction where maintenance tunnels split towards separate exit points. Ahead, security feeds showed increased activity at each potential emergence point. Singapore facility powering up transport systems, Wright reported. They're preparing for immediate subject transfer, window closing fast. Justin examined tactical overlays as they reached the intersection. Their planned escape route remained viable, but intelligence about Biosynth's evacuation procedures demanded immediate action. The medical transport systems maintained Vexca's stability, but each passing minute risked additional subjects being moved beyond reach. Tactical teams in position, Evans transmitted, awaiting coordination for facility breach. Through Wright's access, they observed Biosynth board members initiating final transfer protocols. Time compressed around their position in the tunnel junction as multiple priorities collided, their extraction window narrowing, while captive Saurians faced relocation to Singapore's secured facility. Security forces expanding search pattern, Krelth reported. Detection risk increasing. Justin checked their vehicle's tactical systems, evaluating options as environmental warnings continued flashing across his displays. The junction's intersecting paths offered distinct choices, each carrying significant consequences as Biosynth's evacuation procedures accelerated above them. Split at Junction 7, Justin transmitted, checking Vexca's medical readouts. Krelth, take your team through the maintenance bypass. We'll proceed with primary extraction. The convoy separated smoothly, tactical vehicles diverging at precise angles through the tunnel intersection. Ray's fingers danced across his terminal, highlighting structural details in the ventilation system. Found our advantage, Ray's said. Maintenance shaft contains independent air handling units. We can bypass Morrison's countermeasures through the auxiliary ducts. Justin guided their medical transport through the narrow passage as Evans's voice cut through their tactical channel. New players topside. Saurian Special Operations Division just arrived. Commander Vexthra leading personally. The name registered instantly Vexca's older sister, known for precise tactical operations against illegal weapons facilities. Through security feeds, they observed her teams deploying around surface access points, forcing Davidson's Aegis units to redistribute their coverage. Warning indicators flashed across the lead vehicle's displays. Caustic vapors penetrated compromised environmental seals, eating through protective barriers. Lead vehicle losing containment, Cooper transmitted. Seal integrity at 40%. Reyes unclipped vital components from his protective gear, initiating emergency repairs. Need 5 minutes to stabilize. The medical transport systems maintained steady support as Justin monitored Vexka's tissue samples. Her cellular structure showed continued degradation, but the rate had stabilized under targeted treatment protocols. Walsh's team reporting in, Evans announced. Satellite confirms 3 Saurian diplomats in separate containment zones at Mojave. Stasis systems active and drawing significant power. Wright's programs extracted critical data streams before deletion protocols completed their purge. Technical specifications scrolled across secure displays detailed research on weaponized compounds, targeting specific genetic markers in Saurian physiology. Gunfire echoed through adjacent tunnels as Krelth's forces engaged Tanner's contractors at a critical intersection. The commander's precise tactics prevented enemy units from establishing flanking positions, while his team secured additional research samples. Retrieved prototype delivery systems, Krelth reported, designed for mass deployment of modified compounds. Cooper access facility protocols through his authenticated codes, initiating selective decontamination, creating safe corridors through affected zones. Environmental systems cycled in sequence, clearing specific tunnel sections while maintaining hazardous conditions in others. Davidson's teams abandoned multiple blocking positions, unable to maintain their containment strategy. FBI tactical units in position, Evans transmitted. Establishing surface perimeter, Biosynth board members grounded pending federal intervention. The medical transport's enhanced systems compensated for environmental fluctuations as they approached their primary extraction point. Through facility sensors, they tracked Vexthra's team securing additional access routes while Walsh's investigation expanded. Confirmed military contract violations, Walsh reported. Unauthorized weapons development using stolen genetic materials. Singapore facility preparing for immediate evidence transfer. Justin checked their tactical overlay as they reached the final approach to their extraction point. The medical transport's reinforced systems maintained stable support for Vexka, while Reyes completed critical repairs on their lead vehicle. Seal integrity restored, Reyes confirmed. Auxiliary power systems compensating for environmental damage. Through security feeds, they observed Krelth's forces securing multiple escape routes through the abandoned mining complex. The commander's tactical expertise prevented Biosynth's remaining contractors from consolidating their defensive positions. Wright's voice cut through their tactical channel. Breaking update Mojave facility implementing emergency protocols. Preparing remaining test subjects for immediate relocation. The evidence trail expanded beyond corporate crimes into potential violations of interstellar weapons treaties. Each secured data packet revealed deeper connections between Biosynth's research program and classified military applications. Justin guided their vehicles through the final tunnel section as Evans coordinated surface operations. FBI tactical teams maintained their perimeter while Vexthra's forces established additional containment points around critical access routes. Primary extraction point in range, Cooper transmitted. Multiple routes secured, awaiting final approach coordinates. The medical transport systems registered steady readings as they prepared for their emergence. Above, specialized teams from multiple agencies converged on the facility's surface access points, while Biosynth's remaining security forces attempted to implement final containment protocols. Security feeds displayed 3 U-60 helicopters lifting off from the Mojave facility's private helipad. The aircraft banked sharply west, their trajectories indicating Biosynth's offshore staging area. Multiple transports airborne, Evans transmitted. Vectoring interceptors to track, Coast Guard vessels moving to block marine escape routes. Justin adjusted the medical transport's environmental shields as they approached another contaminated section. Vexka's vitals fluctuated with each variation in the tunnel atmosphere. A maintenance station appeared ahead, its emergency supplies still intact. "Hold position," Justin ordered, bringing their vehicle to a stop. Those supplies could stabilize her protective systems. Rays retrieved specialized filtration units from the station's storage lockers. The equipment integrated smoothly with their transport's life support, creating additional layers of protection against Morrison's chemical countermeasures. Above ground, Vexthra's teams breached the facility's perimeter using phase-shift technology. Their specialized equipment created temporary gaps in biosynth sensor grid, forcing Davidson's forces to abandon their defensive positions. "Grid analysis complete," Vexthra transmitted, sending tactical overlay. "Defense network shows multiple blind spots at northeastern access points." Wright's systems detected encrypted data bursts between Singapore and the facility's command center. Protocol terminus activated. Biosynth transferring research assets to underground vaults beneath Asian headquarters. Walsh's team traced network pathways through Biosynth's communication infrastructure. Federal agencies now have direct access to their secure channels. Board members' transmissions intercepted. A resonating thud echoed through the tunnel as industrial foam expanded across their planned exit route. Tanner's contractors deployed automated dispensers, attempting to seal their escape path. Krelth's teams responded immediately, deploying plasma cutters originally designed for emergency extractions. The specialized equipment carved precise channels through the hardening barrier foam. "Exit route secured," Krelth transmitted. Additional research samples recovered from contractor storage units. Evans's voice cut through their tactical frequency. "FBI surveillance tracking Dr. Zhao. Target carrying specialized containment units from secure storage. Private aircraft waiting at remote strip." Cooper accessed the tunnel's life support controls through his tactical interface. Environmental systems responded to his override codes, creating protected corridors while maintaining hazardous conditions in adjacent sections. Davidson's team sealed in contaminated zones, Cooper reported. Clear path to extraction point established. Justin guided their transport through the decontaminated sections as Vexka's medical readings stabilized. The enhanced protective protocols maintained steady support despite lingering chemical traces in the tunnel atmosphere. Wright's cyber warfare suite detected increased activity in biosynth secure networks. Multiple deletion protocols activated, recovering data packets. Military contract details confirmed. Unauthorized weapons development using Saurian genetic sequences. Walsh transmitted updated intelligence through their tactical network. Federal task force mobilizing. Singapore facility targeted for immediate intervention based on recovered evidence. Movement indicators flashed across their tactical displays as biosynth security teams activated emergency protocols in parallel tunnel sections. Their remaining forces attempted to establish blocking positions ahead of the convoy's position. Multiple teams converging, Krelth reported, using maintenance bypasses to outflank their defensive line. Justin checked their transport's tactical overlay as they approached the final tunnel junction. Vexthra's forces secured additional surface access points while Evans coordinated federal response teams around the facility's perimeter. "Extraction point ahead," Cooper transmitted. "Surface teams in position to provide cover." The medical transport systems maintained stable readings as they prepared for their final approach. Through facility sensors, they tracked biosynth security forces attempting to seal adjacent tunnel sections, while federal agencies expanded their containment operation around the complex. Justin steered the transport through the final stretch as facility lights flickered overhead. The tunnel's reinforced walls gave way to exposed rock face, indicating their approach to the abandoned mining sector. Their convoy emerged into a cavernous equipment storage facility, its shadowed interior filled with dormant industrial machinery. Establishing defensive positions, Cooper transmitted, deploying tactical units in a protective circle around the medical transport. Reyes, get those security systems offline. Reyes connected his terminal to a weathered control panel, fingers moving across the interface. Accessing facility grid, multiple automated systems still active, bypassing primary protocols now. Through the transport sensors, Justin monitored Vexka's vital signs. Her cellular structure displayed concerning patterns, systematic breakdown of natural regenerative processes. He adjusted the medical pod's treatment protocols, compensating for the degradation. New data on target facilities, Wright transmitted. Singapore complex expanding underground research wings. Structural plans show dedicated containment areas. Satellite feeds displayed increased activity at Biosynth's Mojave site. Transport vehicles moved between secure zones as teams transferred equipment from containment areas. Evans coordinated FBI response units, positioning tactical teams around key evacuation routes. Board members mobilizing, Evans reported. Multiple vehicles approaching private airstrip. Specialized containment units observed during transfer. Commander Vexthra's teams deployed sensor jamming equipment around the storage facility's perimeter. Advanced Saurian technology created electromagnetic interference patterns, masking their position from Biosynth's tracking systems. Recovered security cores from Eastern Hub, Krelth transmitted. Data confirms systematic operations against diplomatic personnel, documented transfer protocols between research sites. Reyes disabled the last automated security measures, facility systems neutralized, setting up remote monitoring of adjacent sectors. Movement indicators flashed as Davidson's Aegis teams approached through multiple access points. Cooper directed their defensive units to cover exposed approaches while maintaining their protective formation. Davidson splitting forces, Cooper observed. 3 teams moving to cut off northern escape route, 2 maintaining pressure from the south. Intercepted transmission burst, Wright announced. Biosynth activating global contingency measures. Transport aircraft arriving at multiple research sites. Justin stabilized Vexka's containment pod, integrating specialized medical equipment from their transport. The enhanced systems provided detailed analysis of cellular damage caused by experimental compounds. Walsh's voice cut through their tactical channel. Singapore facility vulnerabilities identified. Transmitting structural data to international response teams. Multiple access points confirmed through lower maintenance levels. Through surveillance feeds, they observed Biosynth's board members boarding private aircraft at the Mojave facility. Each transport carried secured containment units, their environmental systems active during transfer. Additional Saurian biosignatures detected, Commander Vexthra reported. 3 distinct patterns in Mojave's primary research wing, stasis systems maintaining critical functions. Cooper's tactical overlay highlighted defensive positions as Davidson's teams probed their perimeter. Contact imminent. Security contractors deploying through maintenance shafts. Intercepted contractor communications, Wright transmitted. Multiple teams coordinating resistance against federal intervention. Private military assets mobilizing at secondary facilities. Evans's response came immediately. Federal task force expanding operation. International authorities notified. Tracking all Biosynth transport movements between research sites. Justin monitored their tactical display as Krelth's forces prepared for convoy movement. Their window for reaching the secondary extraction point narrowed with each passing minute as Biosynth security response intensified around the facility perimeter. New data burst from Singapore, Wright reported. Research facility implementing deletion protocols. attempting to preserve critical files before purge completes. The medical transport systems maintained stable support as Justin evaluated their options. Each secured research sample provided additional evidence of Biosynth's weapons program, while Vexca's medical data documented the devastating effects of their experimental compounds. Through facility sensors, they tracked increased movement in adjacent tunnel sections. Davidson's teams established blocking positions at key intersections, while contractor forces deployed additional tactical units through emergency access points. Justin steered the medical transport through the final section of tunnel as Davidson's teams pressed closer. Natural light filtered through a widening passage ahead, revealing their prepared evacuation zone. 3 Saurian diplomatic shuttles waited with activated stealth systems, their angular forms barely visible against the desert landscape. Primary transport approach confirmed, Commander Vexthra transmitted. Defensive units in position around landing zone. The transport emerged into open air. Justin guided their vehicle toward the central shuttle, while tactical teams established overlapping fields of fire. The desert wind carried traces of dust across their sensor arrays. Multiple warning indicators flashed across their displays. Armored panels slid aside around the facility's external walls, revealing automated defense turrets. The weapons platforms tracked toward their position with precision servos. Biosynth defense grid activating, Rays transmitted. Accessing mining facility power systems. Initiating electromagnetic pulse. Energy surged through underground power conduits. The turret's targeting systems flickered and died as localized electromagnetic disruptions cascaded through their control networks. Their weapon barrels drooped, rendered inert by Rays' countermeasures. CDC teams reporting from Central Labs, Evans cut in. 3 Saurian diplomats located in suspended animation. Ambassador Krelva, Cultural Attaché Murath, and Trade Representative Vexner confirmed. Medical scans indicate extensive chemical exposure. Walsh's voice carried urgency, breaking Biosynth's encrypted channels. Project Eclipse details confirmed weaponized compounds designed for mass suppression of Saurian regenerative abilities, transmitting evidence to international authorities. Justin monitored Vexca's medical readings as they approached the central shuttle. Her cellular patterns showed signs of stabilization, though chemical traces lingered in her system. Behind them, Krelth's teams moved efficiently through their defensive positions, securing research samples and prototype delivery systems. Multiple transport signatures detected, Wright transmitted. Biosynth facilities worldwide initiating evacuation protocols, tracking 12 aircraft departing research sites. Federal response units mobilizing, Evans responded. Interceptors vectoring to block evacuation routes. International task force elements moving to secure research facilities. The medical transport's ramp extended as they reached the shuttle. Justin activated transfer protocols, initiating careful movement of Vexca's containment pod into the vessel's advanced medical bay. The shuttle's diagnostic systems engaged automatically, beginning detailed cellular analysis. Movement flashed at the perimeter. Metal pods impacted around the evacuation zone as Davidson's forces launched their final assault. Commander Vexthra responded instantly, activating the shuttle's defensive shields. Blue energy fields expanded outward, creating a protected corridor for remaining convoy vehicles. Shield matrix stable, Rays reported, maintaining electronic countermeasures against peripheral targeting systems. Through their tactical network, satellite feeds displayed increased activity at Biosynth's Singapore headquarters. Research equipment moved between secure zones as staff implemented emergency protocols. Deputy Director Ward's FBI team secured the Mojave facility's perimeter, blocking evacuation routes. Additional security contractors approaching from Vector 3, Commander Krelth transmitted. 3 tactical units with heavy weapons, adjusting defensive positions. Justin completed Vexka's transfer to the shuttle's medical bay. The vessel's advanced systems confirmed successful neutralization of biosynth compounds, though cellular monitoring would continue. Behind them, Rays maintained their electronic defenses as the remaining convoy vehicles moved into final evacuation positions. The desert wind carried dust across their sensor arrays as they prepared for departure. Through facility feeds, they observed Ward's FBI teams moving methodically through biosynth's research wings, securing evidence and ensuring the safety of the recovered Saurian diplomats. Above, satellite tracking displayed biosynth transport aircraft moving between facilities as Evans coordinated international intercept operations. Combat indicators flashed as the corporate security contractors reached engagement range. Commander Krelth's forces adjusted their positions, weapons trained on approach vectors, while the evacuation continued under the shuttle's protective shields. The contractors opened fire, rounds impacting harmlessly against the energy barriers as Justin completed final system checks in the shuttle's medical bay. The diagnostic interface displayed Vexka's improving cellular patterns. The shuttle's advanced biotechnology interfaced with her containment pod, neutralizing lingering traces of biosynth compounds. Each scan provided additional documentation of the weapons program's effects. Multiple aircraft incoming, Wright transmitted. Signatures match Phantom response unit configurations. 6 VTOL craft on approach vectors. Satellite feeds tracked the incoming threat. The angular craft carried specialized containment units in underslung pods, their design optimized for Saurian capture operations. Colonel Blackwood leading PRU response, Cooper noted, adjusting defensive positions. Watch for their sonic suppression systems. Commander Krelth's teams loaded the last research samples into the second shuttle's secure storage. Prototype delivery system secured, beginning launch preparations. Priority alert from Mojave teams, Evans cut in. Hidden sublevel located beneath primary labs. Mass delivery system discovered designed for targeting specific genetic markers. The facility's anti-aircraft turrets swiveled toward their position. Blackwood's forces attempted remote activation, targeting systems locking onto the shuttle's positions. Rays accessed the mining facility's power grid, initiating electromagnetic countermeasures. He redirected power through modified excavation equipment, creating localized interference fields. The turret's targeting systems faltered, unable to maintain lock through the electronic disruption. Breaking biosynth's encryption, Wright transmitted. Operation Shadow Scale files recovered. Systematic abduction program targeting diplomatic personnel. Walsh's voice carried urgency. Transport network identified. Multiple cargo vessels departing coastal facilities, all converging on deep-sea installation near Singapore coordinates. The shuttle's engines hummed to life as launch sequences initiated. Through their tactical network, satellite feeds displayed increased activity at offshore facilities worldwide. Biosynth implemented emergency protocols, preparing to relocate their research operations. Priority transmission from High Command, Commander Vexthra announced. Military intervention authorized at Singapore headquarters. Additional species involvement confirmed. Justin monitored Vexka's readings as the medical bay's systems documented her recovery. Each data point strengthened the case against Biosynth's illegal research program. The shuttle's stealth field maintained full coverage as they prepared for ascent. FBI teams securing additional evidence, Evans reported. Encrypted communications suggest research sites throughout the solar system, coordinating response with alien diplomatic missions. The Phantom response units entered visual range, their weapon systems armed. Blackwood's forces established attack patterns above the facility while ground teams pressed forward. Commander Krelth's defensive units maintained overlapping fields of fire. Second shuttle loaded, all samples secured in containment. Launching countermeasures, Rays transmitted. The electromagnetic interference intensified, disrupting the PRU craft's targeting systems. Their containment pods hung useless beneath stealth-masked targets. The shuttles rose in perfect formation, maintaining their protective energy barriers. Below, Cooper's teams provided covering fire as they withdrew to their assigned positions. The desert wind swirled dust through flickering shield harmonics. Satellite feeds tracked biosynth board members approaching Singapore's coastal waters. International intercept teams moved into position, while Evans coordinated the expanding operation. Above, the Phantom response units broke formation, unable to acquire stable targeting solutions through the electronic interference. The shuttles accelerated smoothly upward, their stealth fields concealing them from ground-based tracking systems. Justin focused on Vexca's stabilization as they gained altitude, each moment carrying them further from biosynth's reach. Behind them, federal teams secured the evidence of corporate atrocities buried beneath the desert facility. Red warning indicators flashed across Justin's display as Colonel Blackwood's forces launched their countermeasure pods. The cylindrical devices plummeted toward the ascending shuttles, emitting targeted electromagnetic pulses designed to disrupt Saurian stealth systems. EMP devices detected, Rays transmitted. His fingers flew across the control interface, rerouting power through mining facility capacitors. Raw energy surged through the industrial power grid below. The massive capacitors, normally used for excavation equipment, generated a protective field that shielded their critical systems. The shuttle's stealth fields fluctuated but held stable as they continued their ascent. Justin monitored Vexca's medical readings as G-forces increased. The shuttle's biotechnology compensated automatically, maintaining optimal pressure within the containment pod. Her cellular patterns displayed steady improvement. Each scan documented her body successfully purging biosynth compounds. Multiple targeting systems activating, Wright announced. Hidden defense installations detected in surrounding mountains. Satellite feeds revealed automated weapon platforms emerging from camouflaged housings. The installations, disguised as environmental monitoring stations, tracked their movement with precision targeting systems. Analyzing targeting protocols, Rays transmitted. Detecting Saurian technology signatures, biosynth integrated stolen tracking systems. Commander Krelth's teams maintained defensive positions as Blackwood's VTOL craft pressed their attack. Cooper coordinated their response, anticipating PRU tactical patterns from his previous encounters. "They'll attempt to box us in," Cooper transmitted. "Standard containment formation. Adjust shield harmonics to counter their approach vectors." The second shuttle's cargo hold secured the last research samples. Prototype delivery systems and synthesized compounds filled specialized containment units, along with documentation linking biosynth's board to the weapons program. Priority intel from Singapore, Evans cut in. Tracking multiple board members approaching deep-sea facility via submersible transport. Detecting expanded docking infrastructure with biological containment systems. Wright's cyber warfare team intercepted increased data traffic between offshore sites. Protocol Omega terminal activating at multiple locations. Biosynth relocating weapons research to underwater facilities. Partial schematics revealed extensive submarine networks connecting to their Singapore headquarters. Commander Vexthra analyzed the tactical data as they gained altitude. Detecting control node vulnerabilities in mountain defense grid, Vexthra transmitted. Technical Sergeant, target their central systems. Rays initiated precision cyber attacks, exploiting weaknesses in biosynth's automated platforms. The weapon installations lost targeting capability, their control systems compromised without triggering facility security alerts. Update from FBI teams. Evans reported. 3 unidentified alien specimens located in Mojave facility sublevels. Evidence suggests expanded weapons research using multiple species biological materials. The shuttles achieved stable atmospheric exit trajectory. Below, international response teams coordinated worldwide facility raids, while satellite feeds tracked increased activity at biosynth's underwater installations. Saurian High Command transmission, Commander Vexthra announced. Military intervention authorized at deep-sea facilities. Walsh's team identified security network vulnerabilities at offshore sites. The recovered evidence painted a clear picture: systematic abuse of captured specimens, illegal weapons development, and violations of multiple interstellar treaties. Through the medical bay's monitors, Justin observed Vexka's vital signs continuing to stabilize as they approached orbital altitude. Blackwood's forces fell away below, their VTOL craft unable to maintain pursuit beyond the atmosphere. The shuttle's stealth systems operated at full capacity, concealing their trajectory from biosynth's tracking network. Behind them, the mountain defense platform stood dormant, their targeting systems paralyzed by Ray's cyber assault. Orbital insertion trajectory confirmed, Wright transmitted. Tracking increased submarine traffic near Singapore coordinates, multiple research vessels converging on deep-sea facility. The medical bay's diagnostic systems compiled detailed documentation of the weapons program's effects. Each scan of Vexka's cellular recovery provided additional evidence for prosecution, while demonstrating the illegal compound's impact on saurian physiology. Evans coordinated with federal response teams as they secured biosynth facilities worldwide. The evidence recovered during their extraction exposed the full scope of corporate atrocities, demanding immediate intervention at their underwater research sites. The shuttles cleared Earth's atmosphere, propulsion systems adjusting for orbital insertion. Through the medical bay viewport, Justin watched the curvature of the planet emerge against the backdrop of space. The diagnostic interface displayed Vexka's latest scan, results her natural regenerative capabilities gradually overcoming biosynth's compounds. 6 contacts detected, Wright transmitted. Launching from Andy's facility. Stealth signatures indicate modified saurian technology. Satellite feeds track the interceptors rising from biosynth's mountain base. The angular craft exhibited advanced cloaking capabilities, their heat signatures barely registering on thermal sensors. Unknown vessel configuration, Commander Krelth noted. Prototype pursuit craft using stolen stealth systems. Rays analyzed the interceptor's emission patterns, detecting synchronization errors in their targeting arrays. The human weapons integration is creating system conflicts. Exploit those vulnerabilities, Commander Vexthra ordered. Maintain defensive formation around primary shuttle. Justin focused on the medical readings as new data patterns emerged. The diagnostic system highlighted subtle anomalies in Vexka's genetic structure. Command medical priority detecting targeted mutations in specimen cellular patterns. Additional facilities detected, Evans cut in. Lunar power signatures exceeding normal parameters. Biosynth transport vessels preparing for launch. Wright's cyber warfare team intercepted fragments of encrypted transmissions, breaking new data streams. Project designation, stellar eclipse. Detection of automated research outposts throughout the system. The pursuing interceptors closed distance, their weapons charging. Rays transmitted targeting disruption protocols, exploiting the compatibility flaws in their hybrid systems. The prototype craft's targeting locks flickered and failed. FBI teams reporting from Mojave facility, Walsh transmitted. Located hidden transmission array. Signal patterns traced to asteroid belt coordinates. Commander Vexthra accessed priority channels as new orders arrived from Saurian High Command. Fleet Special Operations authorized for deployment, expanding intervention to off-world facilities. Multiple launches detected from polar stations, Evans reported. Biosynth research personnel evacuating to preposition facilities. Cooper's tactical analysis highlighted orbital defense platforms. Weapons systems detected in stable orbits, disguised as communication satellites. The medical bay's warning indicators flashed as Justin documented more genetic alterations. Each scan revealed Biosynth's partial success in modifying Saurian biological capabilities. He adjusted treatment protocols, the shuttle's advanced systems adapting to counter the weaponized changes. Underwater surveillance update, Walsh transmitted. Extensive transport tube network located on Pacific floor. Multiple containment facilities with recent expansion. The pursuing interceptors attempted new attack vectors, their hybrid systems struggling to maintain target acquisition through Ray's disruption field. Commander Krelth's forces adjusted their defensive pattern, protecting the shuttle carrying critical research evidence. Breaking Biosynth's orbital blackout, Wright reported. Project Stellar Eclipse files confirm automated facilities on multiple moons and planets. The medical bay systems compiled detailed documentation as Vexca's treatment continued. Each data point strengthened the case against Biosynth's illegal research while revealing the true scope of their weapons program. Polar evacuation vessels maintaining departure vector, Evans noted. Tracking multiple trajectories toward outer system coordinates. The shuttles maintained their orbital trajectory as Earth fell away below. Behind them, Biosynth's prototype interceptors struggled against their system's inherent conflicts, unable to achieve stable targeting solutions through the disruption field. Through the medical bay's monitors, Justin observed new cellular patterns emerging in the diagnostic data. The weapons program's genetic modifications presented unexpected complications requiring immediate attention. He prepared emergency treatment protocols as Commander Vexthra coordinated with approaching Saurian fleet elements. Priority alert, Wright transmitted. Multiple launch signatures from lunar surface. The tactical display highlighted 20 unmanned drones rising from concealed hangars. The angular platforms accelerated on intercept trajectories, their design incorporating stolen Saurian elements. The shuttle banked hard as containment pods streaked past, the specialized capture devices deploying electromagnetic nets designed to snare vessels in flight. Justin activated the medical pod's magnetic restraints, stabilizing Vexca's containment system as artificial gravity fluctuated. The diagnostic interface continued recording cellular data, documenting the gradual restoration of her natural healing capabilities. Lunar defense grid activating, Cooper transmitted. Detection of energy containment field matching Saurian specifications. Confirmed, Commander Vexthra responded. Biosynth adapted Science Council containment technology. Analyzing safe corridors through field coverage. The medical bay's warning indicators flashed. Justin studied new patterns emerging in Vexca's diagnostic data. Command, detecting secondary compound activation in specimen tissue, time-delayed weapon characteristics. Priority intelligence from deep space monitoring, Evans cut in. Multiple energy signatures detected at asteroid belt coordinates. Biosynth facilities showing recent modifications for biological containment. Ray's fingers flew across his interface. Located vulnerability in drone control architecture. Quantum encryption routed through lunar base creates exploitable network weakness. Execute cyber assault, Commander Krelth ordered. Disrupt their coordination protocols. The drone's formation wavered as Ray's attack penetrated their command systems. Individual platforms broke pattern, their targeting solutions degrading as network synchronization failed. Update from investigation teams, Walsh transmitted. Uncovered documentation linking orbital operations to classified military contracts. Regular transport activity between corporate facilities and restricted installations. The shuttles accelerated through a gap in the containment field's coverage. Behind them, biosynth interceptors pressed their attack, forcing them toward the lunar facility's prepared trap. Breaking new data streams, Wright reported. Protocol Omega final initiating. Biosynth activating automated research protocols at deep space facilities. Justin studied Vexca's latest scan results. The secondary compound showed signs of systematic weapons development, a calculated attempt to create delayed activation biological agents. Each data point provided crucial intelligence for treating other rescued specimens. Multiple facilities detected throughout asteroid belt, Commander Vexthra announced. Saurian fleet elements confirming expanded research outposts with automated manufacturing capabilities. The tactical display highlighted Biosynth's lunar defense network perimeter. Beyond its range, federal space security forces mobilized to secure orbital facilities, while the corporation accelerated relocation efforts to distant installations. Receiving updated facility data, Evans transmitted. Detection of self-sustaining laboratories established beyond immediate intervention range. The medical base systems compiled detailed documentation as new cellular patterns emerged. Justin adjusted treatment protocols, countering the weapons program's time-delayed effects while recording vital data for future treatment procedures. Enemy drones regrouping, Cooper announced. Detecting attempts to re-establish network coordination through secondary control nodes. Reyes expanded his cyber assault, targeting backup command systems, maintaining disruption of targeting capabilities. The shuttles cleared the lunar facility's immediate defensive range. Through the medical bay viewport, Justin watched Earth's satellite recede against the starfield background. The diagnostic interface displayed Vexca's latest cellular activity, her natural regenerative system gradually overcoming both primary and secondary weapons compounds. Asteroid belt facilities showing increased activity, Wright transmitted. Multiple automated manufacturing systems initiating production sequences. Federal teams mobilizing, Evans reported. Space security forces moving to secure near-Earth installations. Detection of additional transport launches from polar facilities. The pursuing interceptors launched another volley of containment pods. The shuttles executed precise evasive maneuvers, their stealth systems operating at maximum capacity to confuse targeting solutions. Commander Krelth's forces maintained defensive formation as they approached the incoming Saurian rescue fleet. Through the medical bay's monitors, Justin documented the weapons program's expanding complexity. Each scan revealed new layers of Biosynth's biological research while providing crucial data for treating future victims. The diagnostic systems highlighted cellular changes as Vexca's treatment continued, recording the gradual elimination of weaponized compounds from her system. Breaking additional security protocols, Wright transmitted. Accessing Biosynth's deep space facility networks. Detection of expanded automated research capabilities. Deep space monitoring confirms Saurian 7th Fleet emerging from hyperspace, Evans announced. Admiral Kexthan's Star Defender leading the formation. The massive Saurian vessels materialized against the starfield, their arrival forcing Biosynth's drone squadrons to split their defensive coverage. Justin monitored the tactical display while adjusting Vexca's treatment protocols. The medical bay's diagnostic computers highlighted a promising pattern in her cellular data. Command, identified neutralization method for secondary compounds, Justin transmitted, his fingers dancing across the medical interface. Implementing modified regeneration sequence. The pursuing drones scattered as Admiral Kexthan's fleet established a containment perimeter. Rays seized the opportunity, deploying electronic warfare protocols through gaps in their defensive matrix. Executing cyber strike through distributed nodes, Mojave systems providing enhanced penetration. 17 research stations detected, Evans reported, studying long-range sensor data. Automated manufacturing capabilities confirmed in asteroid belt facilities. Wright's displays lit up with encrypted transmissions, breaking new data streams, Biosynth activating dormant production lines at lunar base. Through the medical bay viewport, Justin watched the lunar facility's surface hangars opening to reveal rows of assembly units. The diagnostic interface displayed encouraging results as Vexka's treatment progressed, her cellular structure stabilizing as the neutralization protocols took effect. Priority target identified, Cooper transmitted. Research Station Omega located. Central Control Hub for Automated Weapons Network. The shuttle banked hard as experimental interceptors launched from concealed bays, prototype containment fields shimming around their hulls. Commander Krelth's response came swiftly, implementing modified shield harmonics, counter their field technology. Justin stabilized the medical pod systems during the evasive maneuvers. The diagnostic computers documented each step of the treatment process, recording the successful elimination of Biosynth's compound while preserving Vexka's natural regenerative capabilities. Federal strike teams moving on orbital facilities, Walsh reported. UN Space Security Task Force coordinating synchronized assault. Emergency launches erupted from multiple research sites as Biosynth personnel abandoned their positions. The tactical display tracked their trajectories toward deep space installations, while Commander Vexthra studied incoming data about Research Station Omega's defenses. Detection of enhanced power signatures, Rays transmitted, monitoring the asteroid belt facilities. Automated weapons production accelerating at multiple sites. The medical bay systems compiled comprehensive treatment data as Vexka's natural healing fully reasserted itself. Justin transmitted the protocols to other medical teams, providing crucial procedures for treating additional test subjects. Saurian fleet establishing orbital control, Evans noted. Biosynth lunar defenses responding with automated countermeasures. The Star Defender's massive form dominated the tactical display as Admiral Kexthan's forces secured the immediate space around the lunar installation. Behind them, federal security vessels moved to intercept fleeing research ships while Wright's team penetrated deeper into Biosynth's encrypted networks. Detecting activation sequences, Wright reported. Quantum-encrypted commands initiating mass production protocols. Justin focused on the final stages of Vexka's treatment, documenting each successful step in neutralizing the weaponized compounds. The medical bay's diagnostic systems recorded the complete restoration of her cellular stability, providing vital evidence of Biosynth's illegal experimentation program. Research Station, Omega Defense Grid Online, Cooper transmitted. Automated platforms deploying around asteroid perimeter. Commander Vexthra accessed tactical overlays showing the station's defensive coverage. Coordinate with Admiral Kexthan's forces. Prepare assault pattern for primary facility breach. The medical pod's displays confirmed Vexka's successful recovery as Justin transmitted the final treatment data. Through the viewport, he watched the Saurian fleet forming up for their approach to the asteroid belt, while federal forces secured Earth's orbital space. Multiple manufacturing sites accelerating production, Rays noted. Detecting power spikes consistent with weapons assembly systems. Emergency launches continued from Biosynth surface facilities as the corporation's remaining personnel fled toward their deep space installations. The tactical display highlighted Research Station, Omega's position among the asteroids while Commander Vexthra coordinated with approaching fleet elements. The shuttle banked toward Research Station Omega as Admiral Kexthan's fleet established firing positions around the asteroid facility. Justin monitored Vexka's vital signs, noting increased neural activity in the diagnostic display. Her eyes opened, focusing slowly on the medical bay's ceiling. "The treatment protocol," she said, voice hoarse from disuse. "It worked. Complete cellular restoration," Justin responded, adjusting the pod's support systems. "Your natural regenerative capabilities are fully functional." The medical bay's warning indicators flashed as emergency launches erupted from the station's auxiliary bays. Through the viewport, automated research pods accelerated toward deep space, their storage compartments loaded with biological samples. "Alert," Cooper transmitted. "Detecting emergency protocol activation. Research pods attempting sample extraction." Commander Vexthra's tactical network lit up with coordinated strike patterns. Saurian warships opened fire, precision shots disrupting the station's external defense grid. Boarding shuttles launched from the fleet's assault carriers, Commander Krelth's specialized teams moving into position. "Accessing station security protocols," Reyes announced. "Implementing Mojave facility access codes, bypassing automated defenses." The medical pod's restraint system deactivated as their shuttle docked with the research station. Justin helped Vexka stand, her movements steady despite weeks of containment. Security teams secured the corridor outside medical as Saurian commandos neutralized defensive drones. "Biological research sector located," Walsh reported, moving to secure containment units. Justin led his medical team through the station's pristine white corridors, following the tactical overlay's guidance to the central laboratory complex. The doors opened to rows of cryogenic storage pods, each marked with precise genetic classifications. "Multiple species samples detected," Cooper transmitted from the control room. "Cataloged for weapons development." Locating manufacturing shutdown protocols. Reyes's cyber warfare program spread through the station's networks, deactivating automated production lines before their final sequence completed. Dr. Wright's team downloaded research records from the central database, documenting every phase of biosynth experimentation. "Federal strike teams in position," Evans announced. "Beginning synchronized assault on asteroid belt facilities." Through the laboratory's observation windows, Justin watched Saurian warships intercept biosynths escaping board members. The 7th Fleet's precise positioning closed every extraction route, trapping the corporation's leadership. Vexka accessed a research terminal, reviewing biological data while Justin supervised transfer of samples to specialized containment units. Their shared medical knowledge had created the treatment breakthrough, saving not just her life but those of every test subject. "Geneva facility prepared," Commander Vexthra transmitted. "Medical teams standing by for victim treatment." Justin organized the research materials for transport, ensuring proper containment protocols as they moved the samples to the Saurian flagship. The laboratory's displays showed successful recovery progress for all rescued specimens, including the 3 diplomats from Mojave. "All asteroid facilities secured," Evans reported. "Federal forces maintaining containment. No research materials lost." The station's automated systems powered down as the last production lines deactivated. Justin recorded final medical data while Vexka coordinated with the flagship's biological research team. Their eyes met briefly across the laboratory, a moment of shared understanding about their ongoing collaboration. "Treatment protocols distributed to Confederation Medical Network," Wright transmitted. "Processing complete research documentation for Earth authorities." Justin packed the last of his medical equipment as Saurian security teams completed their sweep of the facility. Through the observation windows, he watched Research Station Omega's external lights dim, Biosynth's illegal weapons program finally shut down. "Transport to Geneva ready," Commander Krelth announced. Medical teams prepare for departure. The shuttle bay doors open to the starfilled expanse beyond. Justin secured his equipment for transport while Vexka reviewed the collected research data. Their next phase of work waited at the Geneva facility, treating victims, documenting evidence, and building new foundations for human-saurian medical cooperation.